Good evening, everyone. Welcome to FGM Ecast presenting Pocono. Are we presenting Pocono? We're presenting the ANZCAR Truck Series tonight. Back again for Season 2, 2021. And we are at Pocono, and Carl Withy joins me in the booth tonight. Carl, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, Stuart. Yes, we are here at Pocono, the Devil's Triangle, you can call it. It's a very, very tricky circuit. Very easy to get it wrong here. One of the very fast tracks that we come to as well, one of the fastest speedways. Very tricky track, and expect to see some people stacking it through turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, you were explaining to me, and we'll get you to do it again in the pre-show that we were just having a chat about the track itself, and you were explaining to me about how that tight top corner is built over a bridge.
Yeah, so they've got a little bit of a bridge going underneath it, and it can really throw you out as you go across it. There's almost like a little bit of a bump through there. It is also a very tight corner as well. It's got quite a decent amount of camber to it, but because it is such a tight little corner, it's very easy to get it wrong through there. So you've got to put the brakes on as you come into this corner, get it right as you go through it, and then you really just got to get back on the power at exactly the right time, because there's a little bit of a bump that can catch you out. As soon as that happens, it can be night over for anyone. Those walls are very unforgiving.
That's going to be a tough one for them tonight. They're going to have to do a little bit more than just turn left, so the old joke goes. But plenty of action expected here tonight. Got a solid field as well. 37 drivers currently out, not out on track, currently registered to race. We've got 10 minutes left here in the practice session before we do head into solo qualifying. So it's going to be an action-packed run tonight. We're on board at the moment with Stephen Williams, current championship owner, I guess you'd say. The trophy resides in his trophy cabinet at home at the moment. He did take out Season 1 and he had a very... should we say, is it comfortable? He had a comfortable ride to the conclusion of the series. He was just very, very consistent. And with that consistency, albeit he didn't take the most number of wins for the season, it certainly enabled him to have a pretty handy gap there at the top of the leaderboard at the end of Season 1.
Yeah, that's it. Look, consistency was key for Stephen Williams, last season in that first series of trucks for the year, and that's really what gave him that championship. He ended up taking the victory by 45 points in the end, which is quite a decent gap to have in NASCAR. With 11 starts, he only had the one win, of course, 12 starts. He only had the one win, of course, but he was consistent throughout the whole season. He's going to be looking for that again. Of course, we saw Luke Straher come in second, and he missed a couple of races, which did cost him a little bit at the end of the series. It did reduce his chance of getting that championship, but he put up one heck of a fight. Considering he only completed 980 laps, whereas Stephen Williams had 1,131 laps, that's the difference we're talking about in the sort of races held. It made a big difference for Luke Straher, and unfortunately meant he couldn't quite get the championship out. But he's going to be trying to rectify it this year. Matty Raymond had a good finish as well. He was the third place driver, of course, in the championship. He's going to be looking for another consistent season, some good results. And we've got a lot of drivers that are coming back to the series as well that we haven't seen for a while, or are coming in for the first time. We've got Tony Gagliardi out there. I think I saw Scotty Rankin as well. So a few drivers that haven't raced for a while, they're going to be looking at getting some good results tonight, start trying to kick off a good season. Philip Howe as well, he's back in the trucks on the oval as well. So some very good drivers out there who haven't been running as much for the last season, but they're looking to come out here tonight and see what they can get, see what points they can creep up, and see how much of a good start they can get here at Pocono Raceway.
And of course, another one, our co-commentator Dave Douglas, he jumps back into the 199 Mark 1 Esports car, and he is back racing again. So he also joins the field. So a very, very strong field here, 37 cars. Brendan Foster jumping in tonight as well in the FGM Ecast liveried truck, and then I think that Ed runs the Chevy there. It is the Chevy, so he is jumping in for a run as well. So a very, very high quality field here whoever takes home the win here is going to have to earn it. Of course, you've got Michael Skurlock as well, returning for another season here in the Crank Esports 350. He's in a rich vein of form at the moment as well. Last night in a practice IndyCar race at Watkins Glen, he did finish in third, I believe. So he is currently enjoying a really, really strong run across just about every category that he runs in, with Cup victory as well last week. So, as I said, whoever takes it out today is going to earn it. Kate Donnelly, he's been knocking on the door a little bit as well, so look out for him in the run. Danny G, Mirko Dotnak, all the usual suspects. Josh Mickelmore are also running up the front there, and Ryan Jones too. We can't discount him out of the conversation about taking out a potential win. So it's a full one. Ruben Phelps jumps back in for another season in the Hot Wheels liveried entry, and again, another driver knocking on the door of their first win in the Truck Series. So we'll have to keep our eye out on him as well. So definitely going to be a full top 10. Strategy is going to be an important part of it. We've got 70 laps here tonight. So yeah, buckle in. We've got just under 6 minutes to go in practice before we head into solo qualifying. So it's going to be an action-packed run tonight here at Pocono to kick off Season 2 of the ANZCAR Truck Series. And just a quick shout out to AJ Insurance Services, our partner in the channel. Insurance broking services for business and personal. If you're looking for it, do contact the guys at AJ Insurance Services. Pop across, hit a like on their Facebook page, and if you need anything, give Joe a call and have a chat with him.
No, absolutely. As you're saying, Ruben Phelps out there, he was the Rookie of the Year last championship season in the trucks. His first full season in the trucks with season 1. He ended up finishing 4th in that championship, and he's one of those drivers to absolutely watch out for. Ruben is very fast, and he's been showing himself a lot of talent this year alone. Also good to see Jason Martin out there as well. Jason, former truck champion as well, so another driver to keep an eye out for, because he is very, very good. With him, Josh Mickelmore and Danny G out there, they are a strong team to fight against the Mitch Motorsport team. A very, very strong team, a team that can absolutely get it done, and especially on a track where drafting can be a little bit useful, be on the lookout for them, because they will be working together. I don't think Hamish Gallagher's out there tonight, so not the full team out there, but the majority are there, so it's going to be interesting to see how well they do. Just looking as well through the standings at the moment, Aidan Schultz up the top of the timing board, so it's nice to see him having a good run out there. Hopefully he can get that done in qualifying too.
Find him there, so Aiden will be looking to certainly wander away from that black cat that has been riding shotgun in that truck, and look to get his season 2 off to a much better start than the bad luck that plagued him during season 1.
Yeah, that's it. It's, you know, sometimes you do make your own luck in motorsport. Sometimes the luck just doesn't go your way, and he definitely has had some very unfortunate moments where it's just really been tricky for him, but he's hoping to make a bit of a difference. The Crank Esports boys have got a few cars out there. Mirko Dotnak having a good run as well. He's there in 3rd place at the moment in the practice times, and Luke Traher up there in the top 10 as well, so be on the lookout for them. And of course Michael Skurlock, he is one to always be on the lookout for. We do, of course, have Thunder coming up this year as well. That's going to be starting on Wednesday, the 12th of May. So coming up in a couple of days, the Xfinity cars, they're going to be heading out to Dover. So if you are looking for more oval action on FGM eCast, you've got it. And the Thunder Series coming back is a big, big thing. We're really looking forward to seeing that come back to the tracks. But very different cars to these trucks, but they are very fun indeed to drive. So be interesting for these guys. Gives them a little bit more running as well up to the Cup races, with Dover being on the Thunder Series as well. Dover this week for for Cup action as well. I reckon we'll see a few people out in Thunder just getting a little bit of practice in, Stu.
Yeah, absolutely. I just put the schedule up on the screen there as well, so if you are interested, in fact I had someone inquire today about how they get involved here. Jump onto the ANZCAR Facebook page and shoot the guys through a message there and ask to join the league. They'll just need your clothes and your motorcycle before allowing you into the series. But no, of course, they'll just let you in. So jump on board and join the series. Always looking to expand. And FGM eCast now 3 nights a week with the best series in the country. We are a little bit biased, but it probably still is not in question that it's the pinnacle series in Australia. ANZCAR, and just adding to that with the Thunder series on a Wednesday night. So looking forward to bringing that one. I had a run around in the Xfinity car on the weekend just to get a feel for it, and they're going to be an interesting category for us to broadcast, and that now 3-tiered approach to ANZCAR with the trucks, the Xfinity and the Cup. That continues to promote the driver education, should we say, around how to get these things to run quickly, because it's not as simple as just turning left. There's a lot of strategy involved as well, so more time out on track is going to give us the opportunity to have those bigger fields and obviously that high quality racing that we expect from the ANZCAR series.
That's it. It's a good area to start your career in and start practicing. We've seen a lot of drivers come up through these series and come into Cup and then start putting in the dominating results. We've got a lot of drivers that have come through the Cup and through the Xfinity series to come into Cup and really start doing some good results. And it's a good way of learning as well, because you get to drive with a lot of the drivers that do run in the Cup series as well. So you do get to learn some of their quirks and furboils and stuff like that, so you can start getting used to people running around you. And it is a scary thing racing on ovals. It's a very different sort of technique to that of road racing, so it's a good way of getting some experience under your belt and getting used to how it is out on track.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course we have the brand new 2021, or is it 2022 I should say, and just trying to put my teeth back in here. The guys, there's a huge crash there in the background as we round the session out, but the people at iRacing have released the 2022 updated Cup cars as well, and guys did a quick practice session, or practice race I should say, yesterday, and that mixed feedback about those so far, but we won't be updating to those in this year for the ANZCAR Cup series, but that'll be where we'll head next time around in season 2022.
Yeah, absolutely. I was actually in that race, Andrew Dyson taking out the victory at Homestead, Miami. We were just really doing a bit of a practice run, and unfortunately some mechanical issues from my rig cost me a little bit of position. But very interesting cars to drive, very different. They are quite aero dependent at the moment, so a little bit of damage can really affect you. But one of the strange things, of course, is they have a they have the the flappy paddle gearbox. I've forgotten the word for it now.
Paddle shift. Yeah,
paddle shift. It's not paddle shift though. It's a stick, of course. It's still a stick, but
Sequential.
the sequential. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you so much. The sequential gearbox, and you have 5 gears as well. So it's very, very different in that respect. So that's going to be a very different car to drive. Dave Douglas was out in that last night as well, putting through some good times, as Dave usually does, and we're riding on board with him right now. So coming across to start the lap here at Pocono, the giant triangle that is. You come down the front straight here. Very dangerous spot because the walls are quite close. You can run about 4 or 5 cars wide down this straight, and you will see some people doing that. Coming into the first corner here, you're going to just lift off a little bit coming into the corner. You don't want to go in too fast. Just get back on the power mid-corner. Dave gets a little bit of counter steer there, gets through the corner nice and easily. This comes down to turns 3 and 4, this very tight triangular section here on the track. And this is a bit over the bridge where it can sometimes catch you out. So braking a little bit into here, just getting cars slowed down, making sure to cut across the corner, getting back on the power at the right times, all important, and he does that perfectly. Really nice slide through that corner, very nicely into it. The final section here, the final couple of corners, still quite low banking here as you go through turns 5 and 6 onto the start-finish straight. Little bit of understeer there, but gets it through perfectly, gets it up against the wall and crosses the line up into, whereabouts is Dave? Up into first place.
Pole position from Dave Douglas, provisional pole position at the moment. Edward Foster just dropped in with a 55.66, and Josh Mickelmore currently in third place provisionally as Jason Martin jumps to the top of the tables in the 21 entry, and that was a cracking lap for him and the Mitch Motorsport boys. So 55, so he is that was in his first lap as well. Of course, we expect second lap here to be the faster of the two, so look out for improvement from him. Steve Williams still hasn't come out on track. We've got Scott Rankin, Kate Donnelly, Matty Raymond, Michael Skurlock's only just on his first flying lap, so there's still a few to come here. There's plenty to play in the remaining 2 minutes of qualifying. So Dave Douglas just about to complete his second lap. Big slide there, but under control. And he crosses the line as James Robbie and Daniel Heddersheed jump up as well. Dave Douglas goes back up to the top. Josh Mickelmore trumps him. We can't even keep up with it at the moment with a 55.43 on his second flying lap. Jason Martin unable to improve on his first one out. In fact, I tell a lie, it was just a little slow. Jason Martin goes back up to the top of the timing sheets with a 55.37.
Yeah, that second lap is where you get that big gain. The car has gotten up to full speed, of course. It's about a 55-second lap here at Pocono, so it does take a little bit of time to get it around there. So you have to watch out a little bit if you are waiting for a qualifying cloud to come over, just to try and give you that little bit of extra advantage. But you do have to get the cars wound up to speed on tracks like this, where it is very fast. So second lap is usually where you'll get all the speed from.
Michael Skurlock looks to improve on his fastest time, and I believe he's done just that. Jumps up into 7th. Steve Williams is currently in 6th on his second flying lap.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how Steve Williams does here. Stevie Dev, of course, he is going to want to try and get his season off to a good start. Very close to the wall there on the exit of that final corner, but he kept it in perfectly. This might be a very good lap. Whereabouts does it get him? I think it just kept him in 6th place. I just lost a little bit of time there.
Slower, yeah, 55.67, so 5/100ths down on his prior lap. I think that slide probably would have got him to lift out a little bit and lose some momentum there. So Nathan Walsh currently out on track, and Nicholas Walsh, my apologies, currently out on track, and Nathan Clark as well. They're going to maybe just get their job done here. I don't think they're going to get through, actually, so we'll stick on board.
And Nathan Clark manages to get one lap in at least, so he managed to get a time there. And Nicholas Walsh as well just made it across the line in the nick of time for that first lap, but not going to get them anywhere high up in the grid positioning. They ended up down in the sort of 30th place and 27th place, so did drop them down a little bit. That first lap is always going to be the slower lap. So let's run through the starting order for the Pocono round of the ANZCAR Truck Championship Season 2 here on FGM eCars. So on the front row, we have a Mitch Motorsport 1-2 with Jason Martin and Josh Mickelmore. Second row is Dave Douglas and James Robbie. Third row is Daniel Hadasheed and Stephen Williams. Fourth is Skurlock and Foster. Fifth is Schultz and Jones. Sixth, we have Danny G and Scotty Rankin. 7th is Ben Vickers with Tony Gigliotti. 8 is Trahir and Priest. 9, we have Dortnack and Howe. On row 10, we have Finley and Phelps. Row 11, we have Cleland and Wellman. Row 12 is Maxfield and Davidson. We have Norman Clark and Peyton on row 13, with 14, Nathan Clark and Nathan Rowlock. 15, we have Koch and Walsh. 16, Philip Howard and Brendan Hobbs. 17th, we have Raymond and Schroeder. 18th is Donnelly and Fitzpatrick. And on the final row, we have Aaron Dillon and Matt Patton. See if Matt Patton actually takes the start on this one. But yeah, Mitch Motorsport lockout on the front row. That's good news for them. That's going to help them out an enormous amount for the start.
Absolutely, and a very, very full grid indeed, which is great. Good mixture of teams up the front as well. So we've got not only Mitch but Mark 1 and in amongst that as well the Crank Esports guys, some Natari boys and Sim boys as well, so a good mixture up the front of the field for round 1. Good to see, and they're about to roll out a pit lane here. One of my favourite things about the way they get themselves set up is this angled park and the rollout that they do before they head out on the warm-up lap. So we'll just watch the whole grid there file away. We'll just pull the blimp cam back a little bit, and just as you can see, a huge field tonight. We're at 38 cars in this one. And as we said in the pre-show, anyone who wins here tonight's going to have to earn it with a lot of quick guys. I was just going to make a quick mention as well. Scotty Rankin there, good effort from him. I didn't notice that he slipped into the top 10 on his first race back in the ANZCAR Truck Series as well. So good job from him to start in 11th, my apologies. So, but still a great effort from him to get up into the top, given the company that he is keeping. So, and by that I mean, it probably came out a little bit wrong. By that I mean that there's a lot of strong drivers in the field, so it's a good one on your first race back to just pop into 11th place. Yeah,
that's it. And fortunately, Lachlan Acquia not able to make it out here tonight, so shame not to see him out there. But he's watching in the watching the stream. So good to have you here, Lockie. We'll hopefully have you back in the car soon enough and see you out there racing. And a lot of love, of course, to the Mitch Motorsport boys. They have a lot of fans, especially Josh Mickelmore, of course. Many fans of Josh Mickelmore. Many out there.
Thousands.
That's it. He's got his own fan club, I hear.
Normally tuning in to the stream as well, and we obviously appreciate everyone who does. If you are tuning in before we go green, make sure you smash that like, subscribe, notification button, all the buttons you can smash. Get that done for us, help support the stream, and you'll get notification of it when we are streaming, of course. Turning up to 4 days a week as we're about to go green here. And it looks like Jason hasn't wasted any time at all getting underway here, and we are racing. So it is Jason Martin, Josh Mickelmore on the front row here as we're nearly four wide down into turn one there with James Robbie, Head of Shield, Skurlock and Edward Foster. Steve Williams on the high line there as well. And
yeah, an absolute sea of trucks there. You can see that big wide front straight doesn't make it, so you do get like about 6-7 cars wide sometimes, and we definitely had a lot of cars out there, but everybody managed to get through that first corner cleanly. Now comes the trickier sections of the track. These cars will be up to speed now as they get just looking there, actually Scott got very loose through that middle section of that mid corner. Managed to keep it going though, but this is where the accidents can happen, so you just got to keep it bedded in for this first lap, not push it too hard, but it is very easy to make a mistake when you're running this close to people.
Doing a reasonable job of getting through this first lap. Couple running too wide through that last corner, but giving one another room so that there were no issues, and you can see there this huge field just making their way around on to lap 2. So Martin Mickelmore at the front, Dave Douglas in 3rd, James Robbie in 4th. We've got Daniel Hedershed in 5th with Michael Skurlock, Edward Foster, Ryan Jones, Steve Williams and Aidan Schultz rounding out our top 10 at the moment, and not too many movements actually up there at the front. The top 5 qualified are the top 5 on track at the moment. Biggest mover so far is Justin Howe. He's up 4 positions from his starting place in 18th, so he has made a little bit of a move, but yeah, these trucks just getting up to speed here.
Yeah, just getting into position. You can see there just in the background, Scotty Rankin and Danny G there side by side as they come through the corner, going to come down onto the straight here, but he's not going to be able to get the draft working when he's out there, so he's just going to have to duck in. But in front of them, you got Aidan Schultz making a move on Stephen Williams at the moment. He's going to take the inside line here and try and make this work, get the side draft working for him, and he does get past Stephen Williams there.
Just a little bit hung out to dry, but a great move from Aidan up into 9th.
It's all about getting those cars in the right positioning now, and that's the trickiest part of this race. It's going to be a fairly long race, and it's fairly warm out there as well tonight. It's about 40 degrees track temperature, so track temperature is very, very high at the moment. The air temperature is about 25 Celsius, so the track itself is warm, so you've got to be a bit careful on your tyres not to overheat them too quickly when it is that hot, of course. You don't want to get too much tyre spin, you don't want to get the car too slidey, of course, because that's not going to help you with the longer runs in this race. We're probably going to be looking around about sort of 28 to 34 laps in fuel-wise for these trucks tonight, depending on whereabouts you're sitting in the line, of course, because as always with oval racing, when you're sat out front, you tend to use a little bit more fuel than you do when you're a little bit further down the path.
Indeed, as there's a contact with the wall a bit further back down the pack there. Let's see, that wasn't. I think it might have been Tony Gagliardi just gave the wall a little bit of a bump. No, in fact, it isn't. It is Todd Maxfield who just gave the wall a nudge there. Let's see a couple of guys just getting out wider there, just trying to keep things under control.
Yeah, Gagliardi did make contact with the wall as well, so a couple of people there. You can see there's a little bit of damage on the right front of that truck at the moment. There's a little bit of fender damage there. That's not going to help you out down the long straights here of Pocono. That's going to just make the air a little bit less comforting for the truck, and it's not going to slide through quite as quickly. And you can see there, Dwayne Priest, I think it is, just down on the inside now. He's just going to get this move done with relative ease. He's going to be able to pull out quite quickly there and just get in front of him. Christopher Finley as well, just getting locked in behind with Gary Wellman as well. So big little battle going down a little bit further down the patch as well. Up the front, it's still very much a single file job, so we're keeping an eye out for the moves. Ruben Phelps making a good little move actually on Mirko Dortnak. Ruben Phelps in the Hot Wheels car, making a move on the current esports car of Mirko Dortnak there and getting up another position. As I said, Ruben's one of those drivers to watch out for. Not the best qualifying position this time, but we've seen he's had good race pace in the past, so definitely one to keep an eye out for the future. And just seen in the chat as well, unfortunately, Lachlan Occhio has injured his knee, so he won't be racing for a couple of weeks. So I wish you a speedy recovery for that one, lucky you. You will hopefully be back soon, and yeah, keep that knee rested, mate, and get well soon.
Absolutely, drivers out there that we can get, particularly the stronger ones as well. So get better soon, lucky. Look forward to seeing you back on the stream as soon as you're able to do that. Just on board now with Justin Howe, now up 6 places, so he's moved up into 12th position. Scott Rankin just behind him. It's at the moment just a matter of being smooth and keeping the truck clean. I think 6 laps into this one, and you want to make sure that you can do that. Just watching here.
Oh, we've got
Nathan Rawlick.
Big caution, big caution. Nathan Rawlick involved in that one. His car has gone completely over.
Tristan Koch as well. So let's run that one back through.
Okay, looks like, well, when we get back to this one. So you can see Nathan Rawlick there rolling over, but the accident was caused a little bit further ahead, actually, as the 16 got into the back of Tony Gigliotti. So we just saw there, he just got into the back of him, caused a big spin there. The Sim Boys car's going around, and then there was a secondary incident behind him from that, and that was when Nathan Rawlick got rolled over. So big accident there, just the slightest bit of contact unsettled the truck. You can see up in the front of the picture there, and you can see Gagliardi just getting unhitched from the road, and big incident there, big rollover.
Yeah, just sent the 85 of Rawlick down into the fence, and that truck is done. The 550 there of Tristan Koch as well, just getting caught up in it. He had nowhere to go, so a couple of trucks that are going to be very second-hand indeed there as a consequence of that one.
Yeah, if you ever asked, can a truck fly? Well, there's your answer. Yes, it can, but not for very long. So, unfortunate there for all those guys running down the back. As we said, a lot of drivers out there tonight. We had 37 cars out there in total. So, unfortunately, sometimes, a little mistake like that when you've got such a big field can cause a big issue. And, yeah, that's what happened there. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, is Jason Martin going to come in? Yes, he is. So they're all going to come in for a pit stop now. You're going to see a mass of cars hurting their way into the pit stops. And this is where you've got to be careful, because it's so easy to make a mistake, especially when you've got so many cars up there. This is where it really pays off to be the pole sitter, because you know exactly where your box is going to be. But it can get a little bit confusing down in the field, and it's very easy to make a mistake and have an accident as well in pit lane too. If you're in the wrong lane or something like that, it's very easy to make mistakes.
Yeah, just as you said, a huge train of cars going in there. Norm Clark, Philip Howard, Jason Martin, the only ones staying out at this stage.
Jason's in the pit lane, sorry. Jason Martin is in the pit lane.
Oh, he is indeed. He's first in. He's just coming out now. My apologies. So he is in pit lane. So Norm Clark, Philip Howe, the only 2 trucks to stay out on track with that caution period coming about. So everyone else jumping in and getting some juice.
Yeah, that's it's going to help them out a little bit with those tyres. Some fresher boots on the car is going to help out an awful lot. Of course, no tyre limit in the truck series, so you can change them as much as you want. But sometimes that little bit of extra warmth in the tyres can help you on a restart, and track positioning can be key as well. We did see everybody sort of running very much single file, so 7 laps on the tyres. They might be able to do something, or they might come in this next time round just waiting for a slightly clearer pit box to come into. That's often a bit of a trick that some people will pull, is rather than coming in straight away, is they'll stay out there a little bit longer and then come in once everybody's served their pit lane positioning. It also gives you an extra lap of fuel, of course. A little bit more fuel on board than everybody else can help a little bit, but a clear pit lane can be a godsend sometimes.
Yeah, it's a good point you make, actually. I didn't even think about the fact that the drivers trying to find their pit boards, particularly after a few shuffle around in the opening stages, with the exception of the pole sitter and probably the guy in second place. It's can be a little difficult to find in how hectic it gets in pit lane. So, but Norm Clark has stayed out. So has Philip Howe. With the track so wide open, I'm not sure how many cautions we're actually expecting tonight. Even though we do have a full field, it's there's plenty of room here, so there shouldn't be too many cautions, unlike when we do run on some of the shorter tracks. So might pay to make hay while the sun shines if they can, but the lights are out on the truck, the pace truck now, so that window of opportunity has closed, and they are going to have to contest with some guys coming through on some slightly fresher tyres.
The big godsend for Norman Clark at the moment is the fact that Philip Howe stayed out there, so that means we've got 2 cars on not so fresh tyres at the front. Norman Clark's going to be able to lead away, so that's going to help him out a lot. The main thing you've got to watch out for on the restart like this is just putting your foot down and not spinning up the tyres too much. We saw it at Darlington last time out in the Cup, where a few people lost the car under acceleration. A lot of experienced drivers as well in that respect too, so it's an easy thing to do. Of course, the track wear is not so bad here at Pocono, but worn tyres can still throw you out when you put the foot down, because it's very easy to have them spin up, especially if they're a little bit hot. These trucks do have an awful lot of horsepower going through them, and they don't have much weight over the rear axle, of course, so that can really catch you out sometimes. So a bit of a different vehicle to drive than the Xfinity and Cup cars, because obviously a little bit different over the back. So it'll be interesting to see how they go here, and if they could actually make a few positions. I think what Norman Clark and Philip Howe are actually hoping for is a caution breeding caution situation, where they can maybe come in after a couple of laps and make a bit of a jump, but the pace trucks come in. Norman Clark's going to get the lead away. He's going to wait for it. Philip Howe's a little bit in front at the moment. He's a bit too far ahead. I think he's going to get pinged for that one, because Norman Clark should be leading there. He's managed to get away, and you can see Josh Mickelmore going down the middle there. They're going to go 3 wide here. Mickelmore in the middle of a 2-car sandwich on those slightly older tyres. He's going to be able to hold that high line now, and he should be able to get around there without too much difficulty. Those tyres will still be a little bit cooler. Jason Martin just loses the front end a little bit. He's managed to catch it in perfect time though, and there is somebody having a bit of a moment behind. I think it was Mirko Dormac just having a big moment in the background there, but he's okay at the moment. They got just Josh Mickelmore there making the move on Norman Clark, and he's working his way up the field there. We have Daniel Haddishield up there as well, so he is one of the newer faces up there in the 035, making a move up to the front of the field, just getting past Norman Clark. So Josh Mickelmore in the lead, Haddishield in second place at the moment.
Might have to give him Danny H, I think, to go with Danny G, just to keep things under control, but a good move from him up now 3 spots into second. Norm Clark just trying to hold out here in third, but Dave Douglas is going to get him another spot down the list. There's also, you see Jason Martin coming through there as well, so strategy. Oh,
big impact into the wall.
I think that might have been Scott Rankin. And we have another caution, so there's going to be probably a pretty happy Norm Clark here. He's going to be able to jump into pit lane, get a fresh set of boots on that one, and keep his position relatively high. So just jump back and have a look at the replay there. It just looks like that stepped out on him.
Yeah, it's actually stepped out. Big loser with that one was Stephen Williams. He got really caught up in that one. So we'll wait for the replay to come up here. So as you can see, he's just going up into that high line in the back end, just steps out on him, goes down into the 78, loses control, ping-pongs up into the fence, and then Stephen Williams right into the back of that truck. Huge impact there. Big shame for Scott Rankin there, driving the Davey Allison-inspired Texaco Havilland liveried car there. Big shame to see that one out so quickly, but a very easy mistake to make, unfortunately. Very easy to have these trucks step out on you, and as you can see, just ponged up into the wall there, and then nowhere to go. Stephen Williams just unable to move it, goes straight through that truck. He might get away with not too much damage on the front of that one, just because he might have got away with a little bit of server assistance on that one, but there will be just some damage on Stevie Dobbs' truck there.
I was just trying to see, there was also, it was down there as well, so you can see the 263 Mark 1 car afterwards, just in trying to avoid the incident. He ended up checking up into, I think that was Todd Maxfield he checked up into there, the 263, which I'm just looking it through.
Schroeder.
It is Schroeder, yeah. Michael Schroeder just getting involved in that as well. Dwayne Priest getting involved in that. So a little bit of collateral damage there. We're just trying to avoid that incident.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and even though Pocono is a very wide track, it does have those concrete barriers quite close to you. So if you do get smacked up into the wall, you do go down quite quickly, and there's not much room to actually maneuver around these cars. So very frustrating and very easy to have happen. And I think we might have lost Steve Williams through that incident as well. I think his car might have been completely gone, so might not have been as lucky as we thought. So yeah, Stephen Williams out of this race already, the defending Series 1 champion. So that is a big head to lose. One of the scalps is out already, and that's not the start that Stevie W would have wanted. As we know, he was very consistent all year round, and yeah, it just seems like he's dropped out. So that's a big shame for him.
Yeah, of interest, Norman Clark not taking the opportunity to jump into pit lane, so he's currently still sitting in 4th.
The big help it's going to have for Norman Clark right now is the fact that they've done a bit of a heat cycle through these tyres, so they're not going to be as fresh as they were. So they should start plateauing a little bit, and he shouldn't be too far off speed-wise to the other guys. So it could be interesting to see how this one goes. I'm pretty sure I saw Philip Howe coming into pit road, so he's coming into the pit lane with a few other drivers, just coming in a little bit later. So this is going to give him a little bit of a longer run if we get a big long green period here. So of course this is going to help out a few people and hinder a few others if it remains green.
Certainly will, but you know, that's the way that it is. So we'll keep on there. Scotty's just posted the stream as well. Thanks very much for that, Scotty. Pity you're out early. Good qualifying effort, mate. I'm sure you'll come back and have another crack at it next week.
Yeah, that's the thing with oval racing, is when it's bad, it's very bad, but when it's good, it's great. And sometimes you just have a bad night, and it can go from good to bad very quickly, of course. There is not much margin for error. You don't really have gravel traps or anything like that around an oval, so when you lose the car, it is very much game over very quickly, unfortunately. So you could be having a great run, and then all of a sudden not so good. Just looking through the field, I think Stephen Williams is back. I think he had some sort of connection error, so that's going to lose him a lap or two maybe. So unfortunate for Stephen Williams, but at least he's back, so that's the main thing for him. He's going to be able to score some points tonight.
Absolutely. As I'm just waiting for things to go green, just jumping into the chat and saying hello to a few people watching. Thanks very much for tuning in, everyone. Slender Giraffe, Ton Human, and also Darcy, thanks very much for tuning in. But you could smash that like button, notifications, turn them on, do all the things that you need to do as well. We'd really appreciate it while we go through our second caution period of the evening.
Yeah, it's been a couple of laps there where we've been, as I say, cautions breed cautions. We say it many times in motorsport, but they often do. And that could just be a case of the tyres just not being quite up to temperature through that corner, and the car just getting a bit looser than expected, which is often a thing that can happen, unfortunately, in any form of racing, that is. It's not just oval racing, of course. Any of the road racers will know that when you've been following a pace car for a while, they don't tend to move as fast as you do when you're racing. Tend to be a much, much slower vehicle. So it really does affect how their tyres work and how everything sort of sits out there.
Just a little bit in the chat as well about how to get involved in this league. If you are looking to do some oval track racing, jump on the ANZCAR Facebook page, send through a message and let them know that you'd like to join the league, and you can then apply, and they'll let you in through iRacing. So to have 3 series to run here, with the trucks, the Xfinity Series, the Thunder Series returning on Wednesday night, and of course the Main Game Cup Series. If you are joining the league new, you'll have to work your way up to the Cup Series over a couple of seasons. You can't just jump straight up with the big boys and play. But certainly the truck is the place to start to get some experience. As you can see here, a 38 strong field. So do jump on the page and get involved there if you like. So we're about to get back underway. We're at Josh Micklemore's control, and he expertly as he can does get away nice and cleanly at the start there. Daniel Heddershield not missing the start, going right with him as well. You can see him, they're just following along, trying to get the draft. Dave Douglas down on the inside, he's got Jason Martin keeping him company. Norm Clark, James Robbie behind them. Aidan Schultz up into 7th, Edward Foster into 8th position. We've got Skirley in 9th, and Ryan Jones rounding out our top 10 at the start of Restart 3? Restart 2? Restart 2? Yeah, Restart 2. We'll call it
Restart
that.
2.
We'll call it that.
Yeah, it's the second restart, so we'll go with that one, that's fine. I saw a car making a little bit of a mistake. I think it might have been Kate Donnelly just down on the infield, just losing a few positions, and yeah, a few cars made it through, but there was a couple of sketchy moments through the field. Caught Luke Traher just a bit sideways as well, so a few moments out there for a few of the drivers. Very easy to have happen, unfortunately, but it looks like everybody's starting to make it through right now as James Robbie starts to make moves. He's going to try and make a move on Norman Clark at the moment, going down the inside. He's going to get Foster following him very shortly, right on the back of him at the moment. So we'll see how this one runs out. As Foster makes the move on Clark, gets down underneath there as well, and Norman Clark's going to lose a few positions here as he gets hung out a little bit. Foster's going to try and get up there to give him a little bit of a draft to stop Aidan Schultz from getting that position, so those two teammates are going to start working together. It's a train of yellow cars at the moment, but one of them is a Pace Syndicate car, the other two are Atari Autosport cars with the FGM Esports logo on them, of course.
Absolutely, and I've just dragged Scotty in from the infield care centre where he's been getting the appropriate treatment from the nurses and staff there. Smoke inhalation. What happened there, mate?
I went back and had a look at it. I originally thought that the car that was actually on the low line come up. I was very, very wrong. I got loose in the middle of the corner. I didn't feel like I got loose. Didn't feel like I drifted down. It's just a little mistake. Probably caught out a fair bit. I actually didn't know that there was a car that didn't stop under that under the previous caution. So I was wondering why we were 3-4 wide, and I just thought, this is silly. This is stupid. But it makes a lot more sense now. So.
Yeah, there were actually a couple of guys that decided not to jump through the lane. Norm Clark, one of them, up the front here that we're just looking at in this battle. But there's only 2 guys that didn't jump through the lane. So everyone else joined the train.
I mean, it makes sense, Carl. Like, you would say it and say it, especially the first run on the green flag, it was a distance of about 7 laps. Over those 7 laps, you're losing 0.3, 0.4, 0.5 of a second, even with the tow. And it actually, in fact, especially with the tow, it makes it incredibly hard to actually get the car turned in. You're losing a lot of momentum, and you're just a dead man walking with so much left in the race. Those types of strategies, there is definitely a place for them. I think it was a little bit too early to pull the pin on.
Yeah, it was a bit of a bold choice, but I think they were sort of banking on possibly a second caution coming out, which happened. If you look at Norman Clark right now, he's up there in 11th place. He's made about 14 positions from the start, so it has paid off for him track position-wise. The big thing is, or as he goes into the wall, of course, curse of the commentator, striking once more, 100% guarantee. But it's sometimes that thing of, if you're banking on another caution, it can work out for you in the ovals. But as you did say, it does lose you a lot of time. You've got to wait for those tyres to start plateauing a little bit. So sometimes it works out better than others. And at Pocono, with that very tricky turn 2 and 3, and also generally all the corners are tricky at Pocono, but you do lose a lot more time on those tyres because you just lose that little bit of acceleration on those worn tyres, and that can really cost you, especially as you come into turn one, and that's why we saw those cars going 4 or 5 wide into that first corner.
Well, I wouldn't even say it's necessarily acceleration. It's nothing to do with the acceleration. It's the loss of momentum. You have to wipe off, potentially 10 to 15 kilometers an hour more just to get the car stopped and turned, let alone it gets a little bit more loose in the middle of the corner and you can't apply the throttle as hard. So as soon as you're down momentum, it's so hard to get it back. You're just a dead man walking for much of the next sort of 3/4 of a lap until you get yourself either to turn 1 or turn 3. Turn 2, you're going to make up a little bit of that momentum back, but not quite enough. Yeah, it's an interesting choice. I can see what they were going for, but it takes a brave man to pull the pin on it, that's all.
Yeah, that's it. You want to be experienced in these cars to try it out. That's the big thing. It's not one to try. If you're watching this and thinking, oh, I'll give it a go next week, don't give that strategy a try, because you're not going to survive long out there.
Just the run it to the death strategy. Probably not a good idea in the trucks the first time around. They take a little bit of getting used to. Good fun car to drive, but you take a little bit of getting used to.
Yeah, we do have a huge gap at the moment, actually, from Jason Martin in 4th to Foster in 5th. There's about a 1.5 second gap now between those cars, so they've started spreading out a little bit, and this is kind of the area where you need it to start playing out a little bit for you when you are playing. If you're playing with those strategies of staying out a little bit longer and not sort of pitting, is you sort of need these cars to start spreading out a little bit to start making those positions work. But obviously, as you experience that, Scotty, it's like, it is such a tricky thing. When your tyres start going on this track, it is not a fun place to drive on.
Well, I found that actually it wasn't too bad. To be perfectly honest, if you use a level head and you looked after the tyres, I was aiming to look after the tyres for the first sort of 10 laps. The benefits that you were finding, you found that plateau, and the plateau was just that little bit lower in terms of lap time than everybody else around you. But like, it's also, from my sort of perspective, it's my first time running in a field of this sort of quality. And when I looked at qualifying and I said, look, I'm P12, I'm right up there, I'm in contention. All of a sudden, that started playing mind games, certainly in my head. And there'll be a few guys out there that would certainly be doing that, especially newer guys to the league. And it's a good opportunity in the first race of the season to sort of just get those nerves and things out. There's a lot learned there for me, I think. And next week, oh man, I'm looking forward to it. It just makes me chomp at the bit more.
Yeah, look, nerves is a huge part. Just jumping up to the front of the field a little bit, we've got Dave Douglas and Jason Martin having a good battle at the moment. Dave just keeping Jason behind him there, just chasing down header shield in the 035 at the moment. But as you say, nerves can be a big thing, and when you do qualify better than expected, it can really catch you out. As Jason Martin just making the pass here on Douglas, he's just going to try down the inside here, get underneath Mark 1 Esports car and make that move in the Mixed Motorsport number 21. Jason Martin making that move pay off there, and you'll see Dave just jump in straight behind him now and try and get the toe and try and get that position back, or just keep close to Jason Martin, because there is a fast charging pack behind him of Foster, Schultz, Robbie Skurlock and Ryan Jones as well, so those guys are starting to catch up. But yeah, nerves can be a huge thing, and especially if you do get a good qualifying, you sort of go, oh well, maybe I'm not as slow as I thought, maybe it'll be a bit easier, and then all of a sudden it catches you out.
It's, for me, the thing I wasn't expecting was to have to, like, how hard I was going to have to push to hang on to positions. And that's awesome. Like, it's such an awesome feeling to go, well, hang on, I'm actually out of my depth here. I need to back up my pace. Oh, who was that running along the wall?
One of the lads' cars, I think, as Aaron Dillon getting a big moment through the corner as well. One of the lads' cars, I think, up in the wall there, as we've got a caution out. Big caution, Gary Wellman, Todd Maxfield, few people caught up in this one. Big wreck coming out of the final corner. Just try and pick this one up.
I think it might have been Aaron Dillon who just got involved in that one there. Let's jump back and have a quick look at it.
Oh, yeah, Aaron Dillon getting caught by one of the cars in front of him.
Yeah, it was Philip Howe, I believe.
Justin Howe.
Oh, Justin Howe.
Yeah, just to throw you out a little bit.
Yeah, just to make things that little bit more exciting. And yeah, he's been caught up in that as well. So
I was listening to the in-game comms a little bit earlier, and Justin seemed a little bit on edge. Like I said, Justin and I made contact, so there was a few guys who were actually around him saying, "Oh, that's that's a little bit on Justin." I like I said, I had a look back at it. It's my fault. It's nothing on Justin. But a few of the guys are sort of you just sort of start to feel those tempers just flare. And Pocono is one of those tricky tracks. You don't want an enemy around you. Like, I mean, you don't want an enemy around you on every track, to be perfectly honest. But there are tracks that you can deal with them. Poconos, you need to work together at Pocono. It's similar to Darlington in terms of that difficulty level, because you've got 3 very unique turns. There are no sort of features that match themselves between the 3 turns, and that's what, just to be a king around Pocono requires grace. It requires elegance in the way that you input, not just the steering inputs, the throttle inputs, the brake inputs. Do you reach a moment where you're actually downshifting into third, whether that be in turn 1, whether that be in turn 3? So when you're trying to manage all of that, to have the temper flaring up in the background, a little bit of red mist descending, Pocono is one of those places that it definitely does. It can get to you, and driver management, relationship management, car management, all of those factors sort of all piled in could have come to a head, I think, there for Justin. He had pace. He had raw pace, and I actually backed him in to probably come away with a top 10 tonight. So that's it's disappointing to see.
Yeah, and it was just a little mistake on the grass that cost him that one. He just went a little bit too early in the turn and just caught that grass. Driver that got caught up in that was actually Norman Clark. He was just slowing down for the incident, and he got caught up rather badly in that instant. You'll see a bit of damage on the front, but quite a bit of damage on the back of that car. The issue was that nobody could see him in the smoke of the tyres as they started spinning around. As I'm pretty sure you can attest to, Scott, it does get very hard to see when that smoke's around you. Yeah,
absolutely. And smoke around you, let alone you're looking for a flash of anything. So your eyes may not necessarily be looking for a car that's back. You're not necessarily looking to try and dodge a car that's slowing down and attempting to avoid things. You're looking up the road for any sort of a car that's pirouetting. You're looking for any sort of flash of movement and those sorts of things. So when there's a slower car right at the back of it, generally the other way to think about it as well is if there's a slower car at the back of it and he's slower than you're already going too fast, you're always going to make contact. The only way you can avoid it is by driving either side of him. So if they were on the same trajectory, nothing you can do.
Yeah, very easy mistake to make out the pit lane. Josh Micklemore makes it out in front. So good job for him on the exit of pit lane, and Hedeshield as well has actually kept it up behind him. So really good debut drive for him as well. So one of those names that I've not seen in the ANZCAR series before. So really good first drive for him at the moment, making up some good places. Stephen Williams is up behind the pace car at the moment. He's only 1 lap down, so that earlier incident might be wiped out. He might be able to get around and actually get his lap back here, and that would be very good news for Stephen Williams, who was involved in that first wreck. But didn't get too much damage, luckily. The servers were good to him and decided to let him off without too much issue, but he had some form of a connection issue, obviously.
That's what I was going to say. I actually didn't know if he was caught up in the earlier incident. I did notice that he actually dropped out of the server, so I'm not 100% sure if he actually got caught up in that one. I think it may have just been a disconnect.
Yeah, he did get both, actually.
Really?
He was the first car into the incident.
No way.
He was very lucky to get no damage. I think it was a little bit of server love towards Stevie Dub there, because his car was basically inside the car that was spinning. So the fact that he still got a front end on that car is miraculous. But then he had a disconnect as well, and luckily managed to make it back with only losing 1 lap. So it's sometimes it's better to have a little bit of luck on your side, and it kind of worked out there for Stephen Williams there. So he's only a lap down now, so another caution, he could get back on the lead lap.
I was going to say, I'm not sure if he will get the lucky dog or not. I'm just trying to work out whether it's himself or Michael
He's ahead of the leaders.
Schroeder.
Yeah, I'm not sure at the moment, because I think he might have to drop to the back of the line right now. So he's dropping back by the looks of it. So I don't think he got the lucky dog this time around, unfortunately. I think it was Schroeder, as you said, because he's currently out there on his own. Philip Howe didn't come in. He's managed to stay out again. He was running that alternate strategy. He's been out there for 13 laps, so this is going to be a very tricky restart for him. Bit of damage on the front of that car as well, so he's going to have to be really careful putting his foot down, just not to spin up those rear tyres too much, and just get away on a good start for him. So, going to be interesting.
He's going to get more.
I mean, Mulder's putting it kindly, to be perfectly honest. I mean, the lap speed differential at 7 laps, green flag running before that first caution, it was intense. Like just before that first incident where I took myself out, to put it kindly, I caught him at a rate of knots, and I honestly did not expect it. Like, how slow he was, I just went, oh, okay, that makes sense. All right, no worries. He's going to be even worse now. It's going to be the pace differential to fresh tyres is probably at this point about half a second. That's a lot. So these guys have done it before. They've rounded him up. They've sent it 3-4, probably not 5 wide, but thought about it, and been safe. So back these guys in here, and this is a really good opportunity for a lot of those rookies to just read the traffic and get that restart that they're after.
Yeah, that's it. As I think we're going around for another time. I think as I thought the lights had gone out, but I think we're actually hoping to go around one more time just because we had a little bit of an incident somewhere in the back there somewhere.
Tristan Koch, I believe, had an issue by himself.
Yeah,
and jumped out to pit lane. I just brought Matty Raymond up on screen. We talk about consistency in this championship with the way that Stephen Williams got it done in season 121. Matty Raymond's just been minding his own business, as he does pretty much every week, currently up 20 positions, sitting in 13th. He pitted under this current caution period, so he's all tied up and ready to go. So I was going to have a quick chat with you guys about the gaps and how they were going to bridge that if there wasn't a caution period. I saw Edward Foster was actually moving his way out on his own and was trying to close up and attach himself back onto that leading pack. But with a lot of the guys, there were plenty of work to do with those gaps opening up in the field, getting the benefit of this caution period to close them back up. So keep your eye on Matty Raymond. We'll see how much further up the field he makes his way during this next stint.
And just before we go on, Tristan Koch, he had an engine go pop on him, so that's the reason we're staying out a little bit longer. He was just going down the second straight, and then all of a sudden the engine went poppity pop. He had to pull into infield and then jump into the garage. So that is why we're going for an extra lap on the caution. This is just going to help a few people out a little bit, just because it's going to mean they can go a little bit longer in. If we get a nice long green run right here, it's going to help them out a little bit. It's not going to help Philip Howe too much, but it's gonna make his nerves a little bit worse, I reckon, because you're sort of getting ready for one restart, and now you're getting ready for a second restart.
In terms of talking about gaps and how you're managing them, so you have a look at that position that was sort of running in earlier, about that 12th, 13th mark. There was a gap actually starting to form. It got to the point where it was about a second, so you're just about to start to lose that toe. So watch this restart.
And Philip Howe just having to get off the accelerator there. He put his foot down, had to lift off a little bit as the back end got a little bit squirrely on him, and this is going to give Micklemore the opportunity. You're going to see him get absolutely mauled into this first corner now, I reckon, as a few people are going to get through straight up the top, and he's going to struggle to get it in there, and that's going to cost a few people at that low line. I think Dave Douglas is the one that got caught right behind him, as well as the Crank Esports cars, a big train of Crank Esports cars just getting absolutely stopped in their tracks there.
I mean, we talked about it in that last restart. You haven't got the tyres underneath you. Unfortunately, that's what's going to happen. But have a look at Micklemore. Micklemore got the restart he wanted from the high line. He did not have a car in front of him to deal with those older tyres, and he'll make the most out of this. He's got the fresh air. He's got the full use of that. And he's been able to put the downforce to full work underneath the rear. Still gets a little bit of a wiggle as he turns the car off with 3. Look at him stack up.
The big one there, Philip Howe. Sorry, my turn to do it, Stuart. Philip Howe getting caught by the 52 there. I think he's actually just got a bit loose on the back there, and the 52's gone into the side of him in a big spin there.
We'll just bring that up on a replay there. You can see that. I think it might have been a solo accident, but Aiden Schultz there, just the unlucky bystander who got to finish off the rotation. We'll jump on board with Aiden.
It's a difficult thing. I mean, it was like I was saying about with the restart where I was caught up. When you're catching a car that is that much slower as well, you're trying to read the pack, you're trying to read the speed differentials, and it's so difficult to do, because what you want to do is you want to build that run, but also you want to get on that accelerator as soon as possible, because we talked about it earlier, losing momentum to the cars that are around you, you struggle to get it back. Well, Schultz is trying to build that run. He's trying to go to the low side. Philip Howell's trying to defend that low side. Gets a little bit of a wiggle on. Doesn't quite have the momentum he needs. And it's just so easy to be in Aiden Schultz's position. It is difficult to navigate cars on different tyre strategies. But, well, green for a lap. How many takers do you think?
Oh, I
Probably
could
only
see a couple of people.
Aaron Dillon, maybe Steve Williams.
Just wanted to say, actually, with Aaron Dillon, the back end of his car stepped out just as that accident was happening in front of him. He was basically sideways through that corner. He had Philip Howell right behind him, and they almost made contact as well. So there was almost a secondary crash going on at the exact same time as that initial incident. So, yeah, big moment for him.
And this is one of the things I love about truck racing, well, in general, actually, about oval track racing. So Steve Williams now will get the lucky dog, I believe, and he's in fact making his way around now. So his night's gone from potentially being a DNF to in the blink of an eye. He's now back on the lead lap. He will probably jump into pit lane, I imagine, and take a fresh set of tyres, but he'll get that done and not lose that lead lap. So the current series champion getting a little bit of luck on his side tonight and making his way back around now to be on that lead lap.
Yeah, and this is the thing we always talk about with Stephen Williams. He's very consistent and just very unlucky to get caught up in that first accident, but very lucky at the same time for it to not wipe the front of his truck completely clean off, because that's what I thought was going to happen there. This caution is going to help a few of those drivers out because they're going to be able to go a little bit longer now. Obviously, always drivers that came in that first time round, they've had a lot of laps under caution to get these tyres a little bit longer and also get the fuel stint a little bit longer as well. So they're going to be able to edge us out a little bit longer than they thought if we get a nice long green period, as we do see Stephen Williams coming into pit lane right now just to get those tyres done. So as you predicted, Stuart, he's getting those fresh boots put on the car. He's going to get his lap back. He's going to have the freshest tyres in the field. He's going to have the most fuel of anyone in the field other than Norman Clark. So this could work out well for Stevie Dub.
So something else I was actually thinking of in the background there was, look, we're at lap 30 at the moment. You're expecting maybe, well, yeah, at this rate, we're probably going to get another caution. That much is just about guaranteed. My thoughts in terms of fuel mileage, they're close. They're actually very, very close to being able to make it. In terms of practice, 35 laps seem to be about the distance that you could go, somewhere in that 35 to 38 range. So any time from now, if we go green, somebody like Stephen Williams could be green to the end here. The guys are actually out in the front. What they don't want to do right now is they don't want to pit. You want to know why? They don't want to end up right up there in the back of it. They don't want to end up in the thick of it. We've seen exactly what's going on in that mid-pack and how feisty everyone is scrapping for those positions. They don't want to be a part of that. They've had their races be nice, quick, and clean. Anywhere from 10th back says, you know what, right now, I just need that little bit of splash of rubber. I could have a go at that. So there's a fair few guys right now that have got in the back of their mind, one more caution here. I'm home in terms of fuel, and we'll get those new set of boots on and see what we can do with them.
Yeah, the strategy game is the big part of oval racing generally. But as you said, you just get into that stage where it's critical, where you can start to make it back with no more stops or just one more little splash stop. And this could be a difference maker in this race. If we get another caution, if we get another caution quite quickly after this one as well, it could really help out a lot of those drivers that just stopped as well. Just maybe edge it across just for that little bit of fuel save, just get it to the very end and make this one pay out for them. And the guys that are really going to struggle are the guys at the front, obviously, because you're going to be using up a little bit more fuel running right at the front of the field and pushing a big hole through the air. So they're going to be hoping for a caution in about 10 to 15 laps time so they can get home without too much issue at all.
I wouldn't even say that. I honestly believe it's 4 laps. We're 4 laps from being able to make it. So Stephen Williams, he can save 4 laps of fuel, no problem. He's in the right position, right at the back of the pack. He's just gotten his lap back, so he will not be looking to race very aggressively. One more time, Micklemore says, I'm in control of this race, boys. File in.
Yeah, Micklemore, another good restart. He's had plenty of practice doing it. We said that with Mitch Motorsport, his team as well. Jason Martin up there as well. Very good practice on restarts. They often are up at the front. Got Hadershield there in third still. He's got Foster right on the back of him at the moment. Hadershield doing a very good job out there tonight. And just stamping a mark saying, I'm here and I'm in the series, really.
Ryan Jones just inserts himself into that top line there as well, just in front of Dave Douglas. Dave would no doubt appreciate getting a really close view of the back of Ryan Jones's Tundra there, but getting that done totally as they move into a single line here. Foster just down on the inside of Hadershield. Quite able to get through this time, and Hadershield will resume his third place. We've also got Michael Skurlock and Aidan Schultz behind Dave Douglas as James Robbie and Luke Trahair up into the top 10 for the first time tonight. Matty Raymond just knocking on the door in 11th.
I think you've picked the driver to really keep your eyes peeled for as the race sort of develops throughout the evening. Raymond is probably in the prime position. He's back far enough in terms of the traffic that he can fuel save. So if we go green from here, like I said, Stephen Williams, yeah, you probably put a tick next to his name. He's probably going to be able to make it. Matty Raymond wouldn't be too far off it either with the amount of fuel he's been able to save at this point in time. He's right at the back of that queue. There's a little bit of a hole opening up a little bit in behind him, so something to keep your eyes on. Look at the teammates working together here to control the front of this race, though.
Yeah, that's something that Mitch Motorsport has a lot of experience in doing, and that's controlling the pace of a race. And as we said, like, they've got very good pedalers underneath them as well. Really, really good drivers in the field. So often the case where they tend to be up at the front at the moment. They've got Danny G down there in about 17th place at the moment. He's sort of caught behind Justin Howe and Christopher Finley at the moment, just trying to work his way up past him. And I've just been sort of keeping an eye on Justin Howe as well. His car is really, really loose at the moment, and he's really struggling out there. That car has been sideways a few times in the past couple of laps, so definitely struggling out there for grip. James Robbie's starting to try and make a bit of a move as well on Aidan Schultz, trying to work his way up through the sea of Crank Esport cars, and Dave Douglas is just dropping back a little bit, so I wonder if he made a little bit of a mistake there.
Yeah, just following on with David, he was giving a greeting to the back of Ryan Jones's car. Couldn't have got any truck couldn't have got any closer if he tried, but it sort of penalised him a little bit. I think somewhere along the lines, Michael Skurlock was able to then breeze past him, and Aidan Schultz has also gone with him. So Dave Douglas just dropping down 8th at the moment on his return to ANZCAR Truck Series racing. And it's going to be back.
Double D Dave Douglas, he actually had a big snap of oversteer through the corner and managed to save it from spinning out, so he did a really good job. Got a great battle for third place at the moment. Foster really trying to put the pressure on. This is giving Ryan Jones the opportunity to catch up as well, and Skurlock. So there are a lot of very, very quick cars right behind Hadershield at the moment in the 035, so he is going to have to really earn his money for his first time out there in the trucks with the ANZCAR boys tonight, of keeping three very, very experienced drivers, three race winners and champions of the series behind him. So not an easy thing to do right now.
Entirely sure where all that damage on the front of Michael Skurlock's car has come from. So we look back at him out of the back of Ryan Jones's car there, a fair bit of damage on the nose of the 350 Crank Esport entry, so didn't see him get too involved in it. Maybe got caught in the traffic punching up to try and avoid one of the incidents earlier on during the race, not affecting the pace of that car at all as he closes right up on the back of Jones here. You get a really good view of the stickers on the front of the 350 entry of Michael Skurlock, and Ryan Jones under pressure here. He's going to have to be careful that he doesn't end up dropping a couple of places, because Skurlock will bring Schultz with through him. Dave Douglas will be jogging on the spot in the background there to get on with it as well. So this is where the battle is at the moment.
Yeah, Skurlock got a little bit of that damage in the second caution, I believe it was. There was a bit of a check-up and he got sort of caught between a rock and a hard place in that one, and that's where the damage came from, if my memory serves me correct in that one.
just having a look, there's that gap forming. Where are we? 6, 7, 8. So between Dave Douglas and Luke Trahere. Trahare's fallen back just over a second at this point in time. So he's going to need a little bit in terms of assistance if he's going to make sure he bunches right back up. Remember, we're talking about it, right? You need a drafting partner. It takes two to tango at the higher speed courses of NASCAR. And while Skurlock is certainly showing that you don't need the cleanest aero package to keep up, you do need company. So, unfortunately, Trahere has just lost a little bit of that draft, a little bit of that aero benefit, and if it keeps continuing on, Dave Douglas is going to start disappearing down the road.
Yeah, and you can see here Ryan Jones actually trying to take advantage of Foster at the moment. It's not working out for him. He went a little bit tight on the corner of that final turn, trying to get underneath Foster, and it's just cost him a little bit of speed on the exit. This is going to give Skurlock the opportunity to get a bit of a run on him. He's going to be following Foster as well, getting that little bit of draft as well. So he's going to try and get past Jones here. They get a little bit loose in the corner. Will they be able to make it through? They do indeed. And it's going to be side by side running down to this second set of corners now, 3 and 4, as we come down to that sort of almost annoying little curve over the bridge, but Skurlock has made the move on Jones and managed to get up there into 5th place.
Just cycle back through the field there from the static camera, and you see those gaps that you were talking about opening up there, Scotty, and there's plenty of them around at the field. So they've got to 38 laps down of 70. The guys up the front are still battling hot track temperatures as well. Carl, you mentioned at the top of the broadcast, that's going to play into it. If they go green to the end here, by the end of it, we're going to have some pretty second-hand looking tyres getting around on these trucks. So that could be a late play. So those that are conserving, Matty Raymond, as we've spoken about, probably not too bad a long shot. We know Will Trahere is generally strong towards the back end of races because he generally keeps his truck pretty clean. And that enables him to just make his way up through the field. So if we do go green till the end, those who have looked after their tyres for this portion of the race are going to fare much better than a lot of these guys at the front who are having to push.
So let's talk strategy at this point in time. We know that pretty much everyone, with the exception of a couple trucks, is not going to be able to make it to the end on fuel. Now, do you bet your money on it going green to the end? Well, we've now been green, what's that, 10 laps-ish? So, once everyone starts to spread their way out, the chances of a caution start to fall off and off and off. The reason for that? Well, generally 9 times out of 10, the cause for a caution, 2 cars making contact because they don't communicate so well without a direct line to each other, the drivers, and even when they do have a direct line to each other, sometimes they just don't like that car ahead of them. So, with that in mind, do you bet on there being another caution, or do you split the difference, divide the 2 sections of the race in half, grab your dancing partner, and do a bit of a duet as you dive down onto pit road?
Well, that's the $1 million question, isn't it? It's is there going to be another caution? And that's the thing that's just so hard to bet on. With the way the field is stacking out at the moment, you'd say it's looking good, but there are a few close battles out on track, and there are quite a few cars with a little bit of damage on them that are a little bit squirrely out on the track as well. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a single car stack coming into probably about the next 10 laps or so, just as these tyres start to drop off a little bit, as grip starts to become less and less of an option for these drivers. With quite a bit of damage out there as well, I think we're going to see a few cars just struggle a little bit, and we might see one car looping it. So if we don't see a caution come out probably in the next 10 to 15 laps, then I'd say we'd probably be good to the end. The 2 drivers that I expect to come down pit lane if they're expecting it to go green are going to be Josh Micklemore and Jason Martin. They're going to pull the trigger, I reckon, if it is starting to look like it's going to be a green flag race. They've done about 17 laps now on these tyres and in this stint, so they're about halfway through it. So it's whether you go early and try and get a little bit of the undercut, or if you just keep out there and just hope for a caution to come out.
Those of you watching, Steve Williams up to 18th position at the moment, so he is fueled to the end, we know that, if it does stay green. So he is making his way back up through the field and lapping faster than those in front of him as well. So we'll keep one eye on him in the background as he tries to catch up onto the back of Matt Patton in front of him.
Well, he's going to have to make it work to get it to the end on my numbers. He's going to be a little bit short, so he's going to have to save a little bit of fuel in there to make it to the end. If he does, that's the choice that he's going to go for. Up the front though, Jason Martin now making a move on Josh Micklemore. Looks like this is a little bit of a coordinated strike for the Mitch Motorsport boys, just to give Josh Micklemore a little bit longer time on fuel mileage. So as we were saying, this is where the plans start playing it out a little bit. The Mitch Motorsport boys are starting to work together now to get that fuel mileage working for them, I'd say. Or was it just Micklemore making a mistake? Because it looks like he's going to try and make a move on Jason Martin right now. So maybe not a little rehearsed plan of change of position there. Going to be interesting to see because Jason Martin's just going to get pushed out wide here. He might lose the position to Hedeshow.
Yeah, Foster's in the background there as well, just lurking around. Skurlock and Ryan Jones. Dave Douglas dropped off the back of this pack now. He's 3 seconds down the way with Aiden Schultz right behind him, and then it's another 3 seconds or so to Trahare, Robbie and Matthew Raymond, along with Christopher Finlay. They're in their own little pack with Nathan Clark, Danny G, as well as Hamish Clellan. So they've got a group that could work together if they need to try and get up to these front runners. But at the moment it is these Mitch boys of Jason Martin and Josh Micklemore who are looking reasonably comfortable at the front.
Very almost got a caution out then for Aaron Dillon. His car was just completely sideways through the corner. He was doing a bit of Tokyo Drift style action going through Pocono just then. The back end fully stepped out. He managed to get the power on and save that from a spin. Again, the back end stepping out though. He's drifting it around the corner. That is not good for your rear tyres. That is not going to help you out for this stint. As I said, there's a few cars out there that look a little bit sketchy for their grip levels and not looking like they're performing as they want to. And I've got to say, Aaron Dillon is one of the cars that does not look to be hooked up at the moment. Looks to be a bit of a struggle to get it around there, and that back end is just stepping out quite a lot on him as it goes again. He is really having to fight that car. I would always say it's a matter of when rather than if on that at the moment.
So he last jumped into the pits on lap 7.
What he needs to do for himself is he needs to just back that pace off for about 3 or 4 laps, let those tyres cool off as much as he possibly can. And the reason for that is when it's bad like that, it just continues to get worse and worse and worse the more you push it. Sometimes you just got to know when enough is enough, let it go, and let the tyres come back to you.
Yeah, that's it. Those tyres are just going to get worse, and the heat's going to go through them more. You can see one of the lads' cars coming in behind him, deciding that discretion is the better part of valour on that one, I think. Trying to see who that was, but yeah, Nicholas Walsh coming in rather than fighting for that position. So he's actually going to pit now and be the first cars on that I can see coming in for a green flag stop. But yeah, Aaron Dillon's really got to think about coming in soon. He's doing a great job of keeping it on the island and not crashing at the moment, but that back end is really, really sketchy at the moment. As you said, those tyres will have warmed up on this hot track as well, as we were mentioning earlier, that it's going to take a while for them to cool off. So he's just making everything worse for himself at the moment.
Well, update, the track's actually cooled off a fair bit. We've lost about 4 to 5 degrees out of that track temperature. It was above 40, but it was pushing 44 degrees at the start of the race. Now, track temperature 36 degrees Celsius. There's a few clouds bouncing around. How does that play into everyone's strategies? The temperature comes down. You generally want to dive in a pit lane, get those fresh tyres a little bit earlier because they will last you a fair bit longer.
Scotty's actually jumped into the car. He's actually circulating at the moment, so we'll just jump in with some special comments, but we'll let you do what you need to do, Scotty, as well. So thanks for the
no worries, boys.
that update there. And we'll jump back to you if anything happens as we get towards the end of this one.
Well, the crew finished with the car, so I thought, well, what's the use of it just sitting there in the lane? May as well get it back out there, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Good to see, and good choice of livery as well.
Yeah, nice to see it back out there. The Davey Allison inspired livery.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, so.
Good choice of livery, that one. So yeah, nice to see it back out there, and we'll see how this one plays out now, because yeah, as Scotty was saying, it has cooled down a lot. This is going to change things up.
Yeah, Skurlock into pit lane, Luke Trahare as well, so they've decided to jump onto a green flag stop. 24 laps to go.
So I did say watch out for the teams to do it, and it was the Crank Esport boys that did it first. They're the first to blink on the pit stops to see how it goes, and they're going to have a couple of running buddies out there as well, which is going to help them out an enormous amount. So that's going to be really useful for them. As Aaron Dillon gets a big tank slapper, and he goes around, goes into the wall. This is going to bring out a caution, I reckon. Dillon, a big crash. Will it bring out the red yellow? Yes, it does.
It does indeed, and you know who's going to benefit from that big time is those Crank Esport boys. They're going to jump out. We'll have a quick look at it here.
It's you know, they will have just got out ahead, so they've made their stop. But yeah, Dillon just again losing that back end, and as we said, that back end is just going to get worse and worse and worse, and finally it gets to the stage where it got too bad. Around he went into the wall, big huge crash there for Aaron Dillon. That's the end of his night. The engine is gone kaput. So whereabouts was Skurlock in that one? Because it depends where they actually came out.
Hang on, I think Kate Donnelly engine has just gone as well. I just saw a big puff of the black thick smoke, the kind that you don't want to be seeing as I rounded turn number 2. So I'd say his engine's had it as well.
And indeed it has. Yeah, that engine has gone kaput, and similar to Tristan Koch as well earlier on, just that big pop of smoke, and that is the end of his race. He's trying to just clutch it round and get to the pit lane and hopefully not get a tow, but yeah, that car.
He's going to have to.
That car is not going to make it.
He's going to have to, because the issue is if he doesn't want to tow, he just basically hands every car between him and where he originally was in the queue a black flag. And that is just not racing. That's you basically causing a whole bunch of cars to not be able to pit.
Yeah, he is 8 laps down, so but yeah, this is going to affect things a little bit, and there are a few cars out there that are just having trouble. They're getting caught behind it, and this is messing things up on the field a little bit.
So just looking at it now, everyone's jumping into pit lane. So Michael Skurlock, I think, if they all do pit, will assume the lead of the race. Luke Traher, unfortunately, did not get out in time, so he is down a lap.
Yeah, the big thing for Scully is he got caught up in that that issue with Kay Donnelly, and had to basically slow down, and effectively lost a lot of time. So Skurlock almost a lap down in his positioning, so he's got to go around and actually get position, and that has really made a big difference up at the front and thrown things out a little bit. Pit stops at the moment. We've got all the cars coming in. Looks like Foster made a really good stop and managed to jump header shield there, and has managed to get up in behind the Mitch Motorsport cars. Skurlock, he's still making his way round, so he has made it. So
he has caught up here, so he is in second place. Justin Howe not pitting.
Yeah.
So he stopped on lap 24. He might just be going around to chalk up a lead lap or two, but he, I imagine, will probably stop as well.
Well, you can only stop this time, because if he doesn't stop this lap, he will get a black flag for entering the pits. Well, no, sorry, the next lap is going green, so he's got to pit this lap. So leader will be Skurlock. Yeah,
Justin Howe is going to have to come in, I'd say, unless he's trying an incredible strategy, in which case he's managed to make fuel out of the vapours that are lurking around the tracks to make it through to the end, which he might be running some moonshine in the car or something like that to get to the end, but I don't think that's completely legal, so I don't think he's going to make it. So he's definitely going to have to come into the pit lane. So we'll see how this one works out, and he does indeed come in this time round. So yeah, there we go. So Justin Howe just making up, just getting on the lead lap and just keeping up there and just sort of keeping a position and coming into a nice clean pit lane. As I said earlier, Stuart, the big thing is when everybody comes in at the same time, it can be very disorientating and very easy to make mistakes as well and miss your pit box.
This is what we were talking about before as well, with that vein of form for Michael Skurlock. So he and Traher both pitted at the same time. They were almost nose to tail when they entered into pit lane, and he's got out just in front of the pace car, and it's taken him into the lead of the race. And Luke Traher, unfortunately, is down a lap, currently running in 25th position. So, you know, for all bar a second or two between the two cars, it's ended up with Skurley at the front of the field, and unfortunately for Luke, all the way down in 25th position.
Yeah, it did not work out well for Luke. It was it very almost worked out perfectly for both of those cars, but it didn't work out for them. But it did work out for Scully, the luckiest man in ANZCAR. You gotta say, it's sometimes better to be lucky than good, but Skurlock is both lucky and good at the same time, which is a very frustrating thing to have when you're racing against him, because
we're going to go around again.
We're going to get around again, yeah.
Yeah, Ruben Phelps just having a solo there. I think he might have dropped a motor. Yeah, he has indeed. So the night is over for the Hot Wheels car. Just lunching a motor. We'll get one more lap under the caution.
Seen a lot of engines going tonight. That's something we don't often see, in all honesty. Obviously, they do run quite high here, do run quite high revs here. And when you've got some damage to the cooling systems, it can really affect you as you're going around. But quite a lot of engines going pop tonight, more than usual.
Just talking as well about Skurly there being very lucky. He's also self-proclaimed the nicest man in ANZCAR, so we've just got to add that one in there as well. One of the funniest too. Oh, absolutely, one of the gems. He and Dave Douglas put on quite the theatrical show together.
And of course, Big Skurlock's biggest claim to fame, of course, is the best moustache in all of ANZCAR.
Oh, the mustachio.
Yeah.
Old Captain Mustachio Skurlock.
Yeah. He's got a lot of titles.
Oh, well, you know, a man needs a title, or two, or three, or in Skurly's case, 5 or 6. So Jason Martin is going to be alongside him on this restart. Jason's had plenty of practice, of course, but so has Skurly over his colourful career to date. So this will be on at the front. Josh Mickelmore in third. Edward Foster's having actually, I'm not going to say anything at all. He's just in fourth.
We might have another caution lap, as Nigel Patton's engine has gone kablamo as well. There's another engine out of the race. A Chevrolet just popping itself on the straight there. So that's the end of his night. But it looks like the pace car lights have stayed out, so he managed to get down and managed to get that car off the track as quickly as possible. But another engine blow up tonight. That is surprising. A surprising amount of engine blow ups. Normally we don't see that many. So
lots of front end damage to the cars though, and some close running too. So yeah, as you say, high revs, damage, overheating issues. It's interesting though that it's happening at. I guess we are in bumper to bumper traffic, but it's interesting it's happening at the latter part of a 3-lap caution.
That's it, and it's happening in the cautions as well, which is what we expect, because when you're under caution, of course, you're not getting as much air in the car, you're not running it as hard, but those engines are still very hot from racing, and the best way to cool down a racing car is to go fast generally. That's usually what you want, because you're going to get more air into the engine, more air into the brakes and things like that, and we've seen it a number of times in motorsport where cars going a little bit slower behind pace cars tend to catch fire. As the pace truck does come in, Skurlock's going to lead us away. Jason Martin on the outside. Skurlock puts his foot down, gets a good restart, manages to catch Jason Martin a little bit napping, but Jason's got Josh Mickelmore on the inside. This is going to help him out. Foster there in 4th place as well. Foster's going to try and get this position done, and you can see Dave Douglas working his way up the field as well with Ryan Jones, so it's going to be an interesting one here. They're going to be 2-3 wide through this first corner, but Skurlock has got the position held in at the moment. He's going to try and run away with it. Oh, Ryan Jones gets a bit of a tank slapper there, manages to save it, but almost loses it as they were 3 wide through that corner.
Matty Raymond there as well with a little squiggle, just as maybe that was a little bit of nerves from Ryan Jones moving up on him as well, but nothing damaging for either of those. But 19 to go here. Skurlock has checked out at the front so far. Martin, Mickelmore, Foster, Douglas, head of shield, my apologies.
Big incident behind. Big accident.
Justin Howe, Brent Hobbs.
Yeah, just trying to pick that one up when it happened, so somebody's gone round.
Oh, wow.
I think Luke Trahair's actually in that one as well.
He is,
just managing to make your way through there, mate.
Justin Howe has gone down inside. He's caught the car. He's caught the 064, I think, of Brent Hobbs there, and spun him up into Luke Trahair, and then there's been a big crash there. Scotty, how did you get through that one? Because that was a sketchy one for you.
Something a lot of NASCAR drivers don't know. There's this big old pedal in the middle.
Is that the second clutch?
Yeah, but it saves a lot less fuel. So.
Oh, very lucky. A big crash though towards the and Traher getting caught up in that. That is bad for him, and he's got engine damage as well. So this is the end of Luke Traher's night, I think. His engine is about to go kaput and pop as well, I'd say. Not much life left in that Crank Esports Toyota Tundra, unfortunately. So that is the end of his night, and a few more cars taken out of position. Question is anyone going to come into the pit lane? Anybody going to risk it? I think track position is going to be the main thing right now. So you might see a few people a little bit further down the field. You might see people from around about 15th down to come in and try and roll the dice a little bit. But I would say the leaders would stay out there. Skurlock, of course, has done the most laps. He's out there on his 7th lap, while everybody else is out on their 5th lap on these tyres. So everybody's got slightly fresher tyres than Skurly, but it's not much difference at all. It's not going to make a huge amount of difference to them, as I do see Angel coming in.
Can we get an oxygen mask in the pit lane for Luke Traher? After inhaling all that smoke out of his engine, he's going to need it.
Yeah, Luke Traher is now classified as a smoker. He has he's been inhaling that smoke for quite a while now. Luckily, it's lovely engine oil smoke, not tyre smoke though.
So we just jumped on board with you, Scotty. You're copying an absolute face full of it from the back of the 43 Crank Esports entry there. So another engine gone, but of course this one you can understand why with the impact from that incident. So we're back on the yellows.
The thing that I want to point out of that is look at the difference between when you pit. Skurlock was just ahead of Traher. And look at the differences in results. One of them is leading, the other one's night is done.
This is the difference between having a 4-leaf clover tattooed on your arse and not having one. Skurly's 4-leaf clover has worked out once again for him in that respect. It's just
do you have
nice.
his number, Carl? Can I like call him and order a rabbit's foot? What do I need to order from him?
You have to rub the moustache to get the luck from him.
That's what it is.
The thing. It's a tradition for Crank Esports drivers, but unfortunately they live so far apart they can't always get there. So this is why we see Skurlock having so much luck sometimes out of the team, because he can of course rub his own moustache. So
do you think he just sits there under cautions just stroking it?
It wouldn't surprise me if they've got a picture up of him on their sim rigs, and we're actually working with Luke to get an in-car camera just for some stuff we're trialling for a little bit later on in the season. And it wouldn't surprise me if we get a camera from behind his head, if there isn't just a small picture of Skurlock there, maybe in some little budgie smugglers or something like that, with the moustache out, and they just all give it a little kiss before they go racing. So I can't confirm it, but it might be the way that they need to do it, I think.
I think that is the future of the sport right there. I think we found our way of getting ahead in streaming.
Just images of Skurlock on everyone's dashboard there. But he's done well tonight. Again, like as I said, we're talking about purple patches and all that sort of stuff. He doesn't like being called a purple patch, but it's just sometimes the cards fall your way, and it breeds confidence. And he's up the front of the race here. We're going to go racing. We'll have around about 16 laps or so to go once we get out of this caution period, and he's fueled up to the end. So it's really up to Martin and Micklemore, Ed Foster, Dave Douglas, Daniel Heddershed. What do they have? What can they bring to the table to try and take this one away from him?
The bigger thing I've got to mention on Skurlock as well is just on his actual sheer speed and his ability is the fact he's got that little bit of damage on the front of that truck, and he was pulling away at such a speed on that restart last time out. Will he be able to get that working again for him? That's the big question. He's got to catch Jason Martin napping, but he had such good speed on that restart despite the damage. And you look at those two Mitch Motorsport cars, they are almost flawless. There's a couple of little bits of rubber on the front, but other than that they are absolutely fine. So Skurlock just managing to keep the pace up in that truck despite that little bit of damage says it all. And we've seen Skurlock getting through with a damaged truck and winning races before. Of course Daytona springs to mind, but that was a very different circumstance. But he is just able to just make cars faster, Skurlock. He's one of those drivers that's able to just get it working. We can see right here Micklemore is right on his bumper at the moment for this restart. They are really getting close to this. They want to make sure they don't get caught napping again. again. Skurlock's going to drop it. When is he going to put the hammer down? He puts it down now, gets a good restart over Micklemore. He's managed to get a nice bit of a gap over Martin as well, but not as good as last time. This is going to give Martin and Micklemore the opportunity. You can see Skurlock jumping to the middle of the track, so they don't get quite the same draft. Foster's going to go down on the inside, try and get past Martin right here, but Skurlock's going to try and pull away. It's not going to be as easy as last time, but he is in the lead at the moment. You can see they're a little bit twitchy around the first corner. Cold tyres catching a few drivers out through that first turn, but Skurlock's managed to maintain the lead right here, and he needs those guys behind him to start battling so he can get a little bit of a gap over the cars behind him.
I was just about to say that as well. That battle, if that rages on, that'll only play into his favour. But 21 of Jason Martin now sticking with the 350 Crank Esports entry. Michael Skurlock just moved down on the inside here. Oh, Skurlock just drops out. He's just dropped out.
Oh, the luck of Skurlock just coming out for once. Unfortunately there, Skurlock just dropping out completely, and we've completely lost Skurlock by the looks of it. That is really unfortunate.
Oh, he's back. He's back.
And he is back just beside Jason Martin. The ghost of Skurlock reappears there, but luckily he kept that car up high in the track so not to reappear in a dangerous position. So good awareness there by Skurly and Jason Martin as well. So really good job from them. That's going to be a very, very tricky thing. You sort of lose confidence a little bit, but it looks like everything's stabilised for him right now. But this has given people like where am I? Daniel Haddershield a little chance to run back up there. He's actually just got next to Foster and is running right behind Josh Micklemore right now.
Yeah, and Dave Douglas has jumped in behind Ed as well, so they're running in that higher line together, trying to jump up onto the back of Skurlock there as Haddershield just jumps in between Foster and Douglas on the high line, and they're behind Josh Micklemore, who looks like Skurlock has moved into the lead. In fact, we did miss that one, but Skurlock back in the lead now ahead of Martin, and everyone's trying different things here to see if they can make their move. 13 laps to go, 12 after this one, so it is really anyone's game at the moment. That restart there, just congesting the pack at the front. You can see the long train of cars there, and then there's a little bit of a break as we head back further towards sort of Ryan Jones, Danny G, Matty Raymond. They're about a second off this lead pack, so it has spread out here. As you see Jason Martin making a move down the inside again on Michael Skurlock. He's going to get this done, and there will be another change for the lead here. Skurlock won't let him have it as easily as he might like, and the drag race is on, so Skurlock's going to actually might even just move up, get that back again, so it's going to be on here for the next few minutes, so don't go anywhere.
Yeah, Skurlock just looked like he was practicing that side draft move there a little bit, just in case he gets moved on, done like that at the end of the race. Just seeing what he's got underneath his left foot, underneath his right foot. Sorry. Seeing how it goes. Oh, we got a car around in the background. It's Ryan Jones, I think. Ryan Jones around in the background, and caution is going to come out. Ryan Jones there just losing the car mid-corner, I think it was. Just got caught behind Danny G. It looks like the front end just lifted. And that was a big moment for Ryan Jones. He managed to keep the car going, but a big impact on that left-hand side. And that's brought out the caution once again. But importantly for Skurlock, he's in the lead still. He was ahead of Jason Martin by a couple of thousandths of a second when that caution came out, I think, and that's helped him out. Will anyone come down pit lane? Does not look like it.
I can't imagine anyone jumping in at this stage unless they're sort of down in that lower teens, but certainly not from our lead pack.
Well, if you're at the back end of the lead lap, now might be your time to make some money out of this one. We've been green for, I think, long enough. Again, that margin on the tyres is going to be anywhere in the realm of 0.3, 0.4, 0.5 of a second if you can get the car to settle. Track temperatures continue to drop. We're now at 33 degrees centigrade, not operating, even though we might be in America, we aren't operating on their system. We get to call it as we like. So, with the conditions set to lower, that means the guys at the front of the track, the tyre fall off, I might be wrong here, but I think the tyre fall-off will be a lot less, and there's a lot more grip available. You can see that there's a lot fewer cars that are all over the place at the moment.
Yeah, just looking through my stops, I've actually got Aiden Schultz stopping around about 6.5 laps ago, apparently. So
yeah,
he might be
three, I think.
Yeah, he might be good he might be in a good spot, actually. So we'll see how that one works.
And if you,
Is he still on the lead lap?
yes,
There
he
was
is.
one car that dived in right on the green flag to serve a penalty. So for some sort of pit lane infringement, I would say.
Just touching on it as well, just in front of Aiden Schultz is that man, Stephen Williams. He's just knocking on the door of a top 10 after being 2 laps down through an internet dropout. So his night continues to improve. Matty Raymond right in front of him in another mint condition truck that's managed to avoid the damage as well. So those guys are well positioned. And Dave Douglas jumps into pit lane. So does James Robbie. Aiden Schultz is jumping into pit lane. That's a really interesting move, given how late he has already pitted. So obviously he's thinking that there's some advantage to gain with a few extra laps on those tyres still, or is he just driving through and serving a penalty? No, he is. He's stopping. So
he'll be stopping for this one. Yeah, a few cars doing the old. They're just throwing the dummy a little bit, and I don't know if somebody got caught out by that, like Dave Douglas, but I think he's coming in anyway. He's just going to chuck in on those fresh tyres. He's going to drop down. Sort of worst case scenario, he's going to be down about 18th place, 19th place when it all comes out of it. There are a lot of cars coming in on fresh tyres now. We've got 9 laps remaining at the end of this one, so we're coming towards the end of this race, but those fresh tyres could definitely help out a little bit, work your way back up the field. As Scott was saying, it's got to a stage now with temperature that we will find those tyres will degrade a little bit less, but those fresh tyres might switch on a little bit better. So interesting to see here, and be fun to see the different strategies play out.
I think the guys up anywhere inside the top 10, I think you've got to be a little bit silly to pit there, because I think your track position is worth it. The other problem is, if you see one car ahead of you go, then I'm pretty much banking on going in as well, because if there's just one car ahead of you going, and you're anywhere from around 8th through to about 15th, you can guarantee that you want to go to the pit lane. If you're 15th, you're at the back end of the lead lap. You're not losing anything. You're gaining a fresh set of rubber. Who knows what could unfold. So let's talk risk versus reward at this point in the race. If you pit now, what are you sacrificing? The higher you're currently running, you are potentially losing anywhere up to 10, 12 spots. Do you have the time to make that back up? Cautions breed cautions, ladies and gentlemen. So, are we going to see that yellow bit of fabric flapping in the breeze once more? Or are we going to go green from here to the end? Bets, gentlemen?
Oh, I'm going to go with green. I'm going to be an optimist for once and go with green right here. So I'm hoping we get a nice green stint, good 7 or 8 laps of green flag racing right now. And this could be a really fun battle to the end. But the pessimistic side of me is saying that there are a lot of cars on fresh tyres finding their way through the pack, and that's going to be a little bit difficult, and we might see some cautions.
I always enjoy a green-white checker, so we'll see what's going on. We've say mixed bag of cars. We've got a lot of fast drivers up the front as well, so there's going to be plenty of close exchange up in that sort of front 8 to 10 cars, so trucks I should say. So, and in terms of an outsider, my eyes are looking down to Dave Douglas in 15th to see what he can do on fresh tyres. So yeah, this is I don't know who to pick. I don't know whether or not we'll get another caution or not, but it's going to be a really, really good finish.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting right here. And as you said, great recovery from Stephen Williams. He's up there in 10th for the moment, just behind Matty Raymond, of course, as well. And those are cars that you've got to watch out for as well on his restarts. Danny G has worked his way up the field again. He's up there in 8th position at the moment for Mitch Motorsport. So he's worked his way up into that sort of top end of the pack. He could be a bit of a danger for some people. If he can get linked up with his teammates, it could be good news for Mitch Motorsport. He's not that far away now, so he's getting a little bit closer. But Skurlock has the prime position to go. If he can get that restart perfectly timed, it could be absolutely perfect for Skurly. But how will Mitch Motorsport boys do behind him? We've got Jason Martin and Josh Wickham all there. Never discount Edward Foster, of course, in an Atari Autosport car. He's right behind him, ready to go. And we've got the rookie sensation of Headshield there as well, up there in 5th position. But we're going to go green. Skurlock gets a good restart there. He manages to get a good pull away from the bottom line.
Absolutely, Jason Martin as well getting a good jump. Josh Micklemore doing a good job as well. Edward Foster now looking to make a nuisance of himself, trying to jam the Natari Autosports car in between Martin and Micklemore. Jason has done a good job there to just attach himself again onto the back of Skurlock to go too wide for the rest of the field. Down the back straightaway, and Edward Foster down the inside of Micklemore. He might get that done. Just waiting for it to come on there. And you've also got Daniel Heddersheed in the background there, just on the back quarter of the Natari Autosports car.
Martin making the move on Skurly at the moment. He's got the inside line. We've got that same battle we had before. Skurly on the outside, Martin on the inside. Will Skurly be able to win the drag race down the straight here? Looks like Martin's got a little bit more speed this time. He's going to have that inside line for this first corner. And will Martin be able to make this one pay? It looks like he might be getting this move done. He gets in, turns it in nicely, and this could be it for Skurlock, just dropping down a position. Martin taking the lead of the Pocono round of the ANZCAR Truck Series 2 of the championship.
Good move there, done by him, not surprising at all. As we just have a look at this field go raging fast. And 52 of Aidan Schultz there. Dave Douglas making his way up. He's already back up into 12th. Aidan Schultz right behind him, 13th. As the two lead cars on those fresh tyres with 7 to go. They will be trying to make as much progress as they can as Schultz looks down the inside of Douglas here. He's going to get that move done. As you know, Dave's not going to quite let him have it that easily. And they'll keep fighting, but they want to make their way up the field. They want to work together here, even though they're on different teams, as those fresh tyres give them that advantage. Looking at the pace difference, and Scotty's right, there is a good difference between them and the top 10, in about half a second or so at its most.
Yeah, that's it. And you can see those guys on fresh tyres are working their way up there now. They are starting to catch them a little bit. But they've got to start fighting the cars around them, not fighting each other, because that's where you're going to lose positions. Dave Douglas, at the moment, he's just got on the back of Nathan Clark, so he's going to try and make his way through there. And a lot of cars on fresh tyres behind him as well, and they're all battling it out and losing time with each other as they're fighting for position. So that's where the problem comes in, is as you start battling for position, you do start losing time as you're no longer focused on gaining the overall time. At the moment, Josh Micklemore has managed to make the move on Skurly as well. He's down on that inside line. Those tyres looks like they're just falling off a little bit for Skurly right now, and Skurlock has made contact with the wall as well, so that's going to be costing him time. You can see he's got a little bit more damage on the right front of that car. He lost a little bit of the momentum going through that tricky corner, as I said, over the tunnel. Turns 3 and 4, made big contact with the wall because it does jut out of there a little bit with the safer barrier, and that's cost him a lot of time, and that might be it for Skurly's race.
Absolutely, you can see him just falling away a little bit there, and good spotting Carl with that damage on that right-hand front corner, so that will impact on his progress. And Daniel Heddersheed and Foster just sitting there in the background. Got 5 to go, or 4 after this one, and he may be susceptible here to a couple of the other cars in this lead pack making a charge. 104 Christopher Finlay as well. Just on the back of
the field.
Sorry, what was that?
The impact down the field. Trying to figure out who that was. I think it might have been Schroeder. Somebody had... No, it wasn't Schroeder, sorry. Sorry about that one, Schroeder. Somebody in a Mark 1 car, I think it was. I sort of saw a slightly bluish car bouncing off the wall a little bit further down the field. Managed to keep it green, though, but... yeah, it's still not over yet. There could be a caution coming out if somebody makes a mistake like that again. It's very easy to do, but Jason Martin at the moment has got a good half-second lead over Josh Micklemore at the moment, so he's managing to keep it out there, keep it well ahead as we've got 3 laps remaining of this race here at Pocono, but the battle is starting to heat up from 4th down as they are catching up to Michael Skurlock a little bit. Heddersheed there with Foster, Finlay behind him as well. The more yellow cars out there, different teams though, of course. But they are starting to catch, and this is giving Matty Raymond the opportunity to catch up to them, as well as James Robbie and, more importantly, Dave Douglas on those fresh tyres.
Yeah, I was just keeping an eye on Dave Douglas in the background there. He's now up into 8th. He's going to jump onto the back of this lead pack with 2 laps to go, but unfortunately probably just a couple of laps shy of making an impact up into the top of the field. Steve Williams dropped a few places too. He was running 8th, now back down into 11th. And that's just fresher tyres In fact, no, it's not. I take that back. Dave Douglas, the best performing car on that truck on fresh tyres, with Hamish Cleland next down in 14th.
Yeah, there's been a few positions lost there for Williams. He's just got caught out a little bit. It's just that thing of, you just get caught out at the wrong time, and I think he just got caught behind somebody having a little bit of a moment, which cost him a little bit of time there, because you can see there's a bit of a gap now from Dave Douglas and James Robbie, as Dave Douglas is making the move on Matty Raymond at the moment. He's going to go down the inside.
He just ate him. The drive off the corner there, just a huge difference. You could see that Raymond was just struggling for a little bit of drive out of the corner, and those fresher tyres on Douglas's 199. He was just able to drive it straight out of the corner, and he, I reckon, is a potential here to finish in the top 5.
Yeah, he's looking good for the top 5. The win might be a bit far away from him, as we're going to come across the line, and we've got 1 lap to go. So we're getting very much to the end of this race. Josh Mickelmore has managed to start catching a bit on Jason Martin right now, so the battle's not over yet for the lead of this race. Mitch Motorsport 1-2 at the moment, and we know that they do like to race each other. So it's going to be interesting to see, as the white flag has come out for Jason Martin right now, but he's got his teammate hot on his heels behind him. There's a big train behind Skurlock, who's managed to back the pack up a little bit, and this is good news for Dave Douglas, because he's catching on Christopher Finlay at the moment. So we're going to see Dave Douglas go down the inside of Christopher Finlay and try and make that move stick. So Dave Douglas is really fighting and trying to get back up into that top 5. He's only got a couple of cars to make there, so it's looking good for him at the moment. Meanwhile, Foster is trying to make the move on Skurlock for 3rd place. Foster's got the inside line at the moment, looking good but Skurlock's going to have a little bit of help from Hennessy there, just getting behind him a little bit, but it's not going to be enough, as I think Foster's going to be able to make this move. Will Skurlock have a better run down the straight? That's going to be an interesting thing. Meanwhile, up at the front, Mickelmore is looking all over the back of his teammate Jason Martin. He's going to try for a bit of a run here as they come onto the final stretch for the final time, but Jason Martin's going to take the win just behind them. It's going to be Foster in 3rd place. He managed to get past Skurlock, and Skurlock finishes in 4th in the end with that bit of damage.
I'll tell you what, there's a big accident somewhere in the middle pack. Big smoking car of Ryan Jones. There was another car in the fence halfway through 3, so there was something major happened just outside the top 10.
Yeah, Stephen Williams actually got caught by the 58. Those two made contact, and Stevie Dub just got caught up big time. Big impact. He's actually gone up, managed to miss Danny G, but collected Ryan Jones. Huge crash there, and that was very unfortunate for Stevie Dub there, and that's his night has not been a good one. The returning champion has not gone well for him tonight. But you've got to say, Jason Martin coming back to the Truck Series in a big form tonight, taking the victory there.
Yeah, great drive from him. A great drive from Josh Mickelmore, and Ed Foster there just snatching it from Michael Skurlock on the last lap to take out 3rd place. Really good entry from David Heddersheet as well. Daniel Heddersheet as well. He had a great introduction to the ANZCAR Truck Series. Dave Douglas as well with his return. So a number of good performances there, and a couple of the usual front-running suspects just not quite having things going their way tonight. Of course, Ruben Phelps as well, involved early in a bit of damage for him with another blown motor. Luke Trahair, same, and as you said, Stephen Williams there just at the end, not able to keep it clean to secure a top 10.
Yeah, just getting caught out right at the end there, but it's a good form for the rest of the year. A lot of drivers showing a lot of pace here tonight, and a lot of new faces as well, and returning faces coming in tonight, and showing that they've got some serious pace for these trucks. That's what we like to see, and I think it's going to be a good season in all honesty. We've got some very close competitors here tonight. Nothing between the front two, just a couple of tenths of a second, very much side by side there. Well, back to back, I'd say. Skurlock didn't make that mistake. That could have been much closer for him, but his luck had to run out eventually, and it did finally run out. But even with an unlucky race, he finished in the top 5. And Daniel Hadashield there, a really good first run for the ANZCAR Truck Series. Really good job getting into the top 5 for his first run. That is a big statement for him. So let's run through the finishing order. So in first place we have Jason Martin with Josh Mickelmore in 2nd, Foster in 3rd with Skurlock in 4th. 5th place we have Hadashield with Finlay in 6th. Dave Douglas in 7th with Matty Raymond in 8th. James Robbie managed 9th in the end with big mover Nathan Clark up there in 10th place. So Nathan Clark and Matty Raymond, two of the big movers. Matty Raymond gaining 25 positions, Nathan Clark gaining 17. Behind him, Hamish Clayland in 11th with Todd Maxwell 12th. 13th was Danny G, Aidan Schultz in 14th. Matt Patton 15th with Dwayne Priest in 16th. 17th was Gary Wellman. Ryan Jones ended up in 18th. 19th was Norman Clark. 20th was Michael Schroeder. Stephen Williams ended up in 21st at the end. Not a bad finish considering he was disconnected almost at the start of this race and involved in that big crash, so could have been much worse for him. Nicholas Walsh 22nd, Davidson in 23rd with Justin Howe 24th, Luke Trahere 25th, 26th Brad Hobbs, 27th Ruben Phelps, 28th is Aaron Dillon. 29th is Ben Vickers, Nigel Patton in 30th, 31st Kate Donnelly with Scott Rankin in 32nd, the talking driver out there tonight. Philip Howe, 33rd with Tristan Koch, 34th, 35th for Mako Dornack, Nathan Rowlock, 36th, 37th for Tony Gigliardi. So, bumper field out there tonight, but great win from Jason Martin and the Mitch Motorsport boys coming into this season very strong indeed.
Well, I think in terms of what you're looking at from a field like that as well, what's the big takeaways that you're after? When you look around and you take a look at the size of the field and have a look at how many cars were still running and in competition for potentially a top 10 finish, a top 15 finish, let alone the win at the back end of that race, that is a very, very good sign for the ANZCAR Truck Series. But ladies and gentlemen, time for the interviews. We've got the man of the hour, Jason Martin, in the booth. Jason, it wasn't all your own way this evening. You had to earn it, and you had to earn it not only on tyre strategy, but on race pace, and you had to minimise the mistakes, mate. It was not an easy night at the office for you.
Oh, yeah, that's how I like it. Hard work, but damn good fun. That was awesome racing when it stayed green.
Yeah, as I said, we didn't go all your own way though. Well, you had to really work for it there, and you had a great battle with Skurlock at the end there. Obviously, you managed to put it on pole, which, doesn't surprise too many of us. We know your speed out there. It's good to see you back in the trucks as well, Jace. But it wasn't an easy race from start to finish as it looks on paper.
Oh, definitely not. There's no easy races anymore. But yeah, great to be back in the truck again. I really enjoy this car. It seems to suit my style a bit more, and you can have some damn good racing when it stays green.
And we saw some good green flag running towards the end. We saw a few cautions, unfortunately. Doesn't make it easy. Strategy-wise, of course, when that sort of long green stint period was coming into effect, were you thinking about coming into pit lane relatively shortly after we saw Skurlock and Trahere come in, or were you going to stay out there for a bit longer?
I hadn't seen them come in, so I was probably going to stay up for 5 more laps because I never noticed them pull in, so that could have caught me out.
Yeah, we were watching that and we're thinking, I wonder if he's going to jump and react to that one, but obviously not catching it, that's going to make the difference there. How were the long runs for you? Were they relatively good out there? Did you sort of find it a little bit sketchy?
Yeah, I felt pretty comfortable on the long run with the truck, and it was just about the first 1 to 2 laps where it was a bit sketchy for me. Then after that, it was real comfortable.
No, it was a great drive, and what we love to see from you, Jason, a great win as well. Good pass as well on Skurlock towards the end there to get that victory. Well done on coming back to the Truck Series and getting that win. Before we let you go, of course, the usual shout out and love to your sponsors.
Well done to Josh on getting a second. Boys at Mitch Motorsports for a pretty decent result in our first race back in the trucks. BK Designs for the paint jobs. And, of course, you guys for putting on the broadcast, and ANZCAR and all the drivers for the league.
As always, you're always welcome, Jason. Good to have you back in the trucks. Good to have you back up here in the booth as well. It's been a bit of time since we last got to speak to you, but congratulations on that victory.
Cheers, mate. Good to get another win.
Next up, second place for Mitch Motorsport, Mr. Josh Mickelmore. Josh, how's it going?
Yeah, guys. Yeah, pretty good, thank you.
Well done on getting a 1-2 finish for the team and getting a P2 for yourself as well. You must be pretty happy with that result.
Yeah, like Jay said, it's been a while since we dabbed in the truck, so yeah, it's good to be back in the truck. And yeah, have another good close race up the front.
Yeah, we did see some real close racing up at the front tonight, and some good clean racing as well up at the front as well. It definitely didn't go all your way. As I said, on paper, you started first, you finished first, you started second, you finished second. You sort of look at that and you go, well, it doesn't look like it was too exciting. Although there was a lot of action there, a lot of passing. Obviously, Skurlock just touching the wall did help you out there towards the end, but do you feel like you had the pace on him at the end of the race to get that 1-2, or do you think it would have been a bit closer if he didn't make contact with the wall?
It was pretty squirrely there for a while. I think I might have got him if he didn't hit the wall, but still though, yeah, it's good to race up the front here with Jason and with Skurlock as well with the pit strategy he ended up doing. So
yeah,
it's good.
It was good to see indeed. Of course, Josh, as usual, love and shout out to sponsors and things like that.
Yep, Mitch Motorsport boys, Jace, Dan, Hamish, he'll be running Wednesday night in Xfinity. And Bob King from BK Designs was sponsoring the team. And if you haven't already, be sure to follow me on Twitch, Mitchy31.
Yeah, we had a fair few of your followers actually following you tonight, and also jumping over to the stream as well. As usual, the big Mitch Motorsport and especially Josh Micklemore fan club were over for sure and cheering you on all night.
It's all good. Cheers, guys.
Now, congratulations on that one too, Jason Martin and Josh Micklemore of Mitch Motorsport. Now, jumping to third place for Atari Autosport is Mr. Edward Foster. Edward, welcome back to the booth, and nice to see you up here. Congratulations on that third place finish.
Thank God for that, hey? I'm starting to think I'd never get back up here. So, glad to have a decent, nice, clean race for a change and bring home a P3. So, I was just missing a little bit of pace to those two boys in front. They're really good in these trucks. So, I'm quite happy to come home third. I'll take that every day of the week.
It was not an easy third place to grab because you had to get past the 350 there at the end as well, and you just managed it on the last lap, didn't you, with that one?
Yeah, he broke out his good old four-leaf clover that he's been carrying around lately to get out there at the front. It was actually pretty lucky for me too, because I actually did see him going in my mirror, and I was about to come in to cover him off the next lap. And I was literally, I think I'd just started braking to go down the pit lane. The caution came out, so that saved me a bit of problem. If it had come out right before I hit the lane, I probably would have got a closed entry penalty or some nonsense. But so that was fortunate for me as well. And then some of the racing at the end with all the boys, it was just great. You know, we had really good guys up the front there, and if that's anything like what the rest of this series is going to be, it's going to be pretty awesome, I think.
Yeah, we did see a lot of that racing. It was really close for the top 6, top 10, pretty much all night long, and we saw a couple of new faces up there as well, which is always fun, but we saw some really good close racing. Obviously, sort of early on in the race, we saw your teammate Norman Clark stay out there and roll the dice a little bit on that restart. You of course, came into the pit lane. Were you just gambling and hedging your bets a little bit between teammates there, or was that sort of choices on your own terms?
We didn't even talk about it. So I was the first I knew about it was when I was rolling down the pit lane. I just as a courtesy said, "Yeah, I'm coming down. Everyone's coming down," and he's like, "I'm going to stay out." That's the first I knew about it. So it was. I was a little bit concerned with a couple of those guys staying out the old tyres. It was going to get a bit messy, but in the end, it wasn't too bad. So it was all right.
No, it sort of worked out okay. Made it a bit more interesting, of course, up here from the booth, which we always enjoy. But we saw some good racing. Of course, yourself working your way up from 8th position to 3rd in the end, 5 positions gained. Not a bad night. And as you said, it's not been the easiest season for you so far, so it's nice to see you back up there in the top 3. Yeah,
that's putting it mildly. It's been a shocker, but we'll come out and race a few different things and try and take my mind off that horror for a little while. So it's nice one to come away with a solid result.
No, congratulations on that top 3 finish, and hopefully carry some momentum into the next few races as well in some other series and make things go a little bit better for you. Before we let you go, of course, Mr. Edward Foster, anyone you'd like to give a shout out to tonight?
Yeah, I mean, all the Atari Autosport guys and our sponsors, Ferguson Group Media, Bridgestone Select, Race Magazine, 2 fat blokes. Really good to have them on board at the moment. So also not only to Jason Josh, who, of course, drove brilliantly, we spoke to already, but 2 of the newer guys up front there, Daniel Hedderscheid and Chris Finley. I thought they both drove fantastically well. Header Shide I've seen in a V8 before. I commentated on a V8 series he drove in, and he was good there. I had no idea he could wheel a stock car, no idea at all. And good to see Finley start making some moves towards the front as well. So a couple of new faces to get up there. So yeah, that was really cool. And good to see Dave Douglas back on track as well. So shouts out to him.
No, absolutely. We saw some good battling between you and Heddershide there as well. So it was nice to see that as well. It's nice to see new names in the series, giving us a bit of a surprise, and it's what we need, of course, is new blood coming through as well as the old blood coming back to us. So it was good to see all of that. Thank you so much, Ed Foster, for Natari Autosport. Congratulations again on that P3.
Thank you.
Well, Stuart, that was a few cautions in that race. It was a bit of a tricky one for a lot of those drivers, but ended up with some great racing there at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Another exciting start to the second season here. We're going to get to see, I think, a lot of close battles like that at the front. I was just saying in the chat on the stream as well. Michael Skurlock jumped in there and said hello, but just how close it was for 70 laps. Probably 7 or 8 drivers within a couple of sheets of paper of one another, and no cautions, no paint exchanged at the front of the field. As we discussed, an unusually high number of engine failures tonight. But other than that, a pretty clean one to get Season 2 underway.
Yeah, that's it, and it's going to be a good one. I've got the feeling Season 2 is going to be very close as well, and we've seen a few favourites fall short in this first race, of course, but it's not over because there is a long series to come with Season 2 of the ANZCAR Track Championship. We're off to Knoxville next week. So on the 17th, we're off to Knoxville Fairgrounds. So that's going to be a very different track, short track oval, very different settings indeed. So a few different people up at the front there for sure, because there's a very different talent pool needed for that one. Next up, of course, we have got, instead of the Cup, which we usually say is next up for ANZCAR, we've got the Thunder Series coming up. So that will be May the 12th, and that's going to be at Dover, another short track, very different layout, very different track indeed, and going to be an exciting one to kick off with for the Thunder Series.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, tomorrow night we head to Monza for Oz Pro-Am with the Dallara. So that's going to be an interesting race there for their wildcard round to kick off the last leg of their season. So that will be coming to you live at 7:45 as usual here on FGME Cast. And then Thursday night, of course, the Cup Series will be on again. So 4 days a week for us from now on, thanks to the addition of the Thunder Series. Looking forward to seeing that. I heard Josh mention there, or I think it might have been Jason, that one of the Mitch boys is jumping in to that series as well. So it's going to be well supported. I'm looking forward to seeing how that pans out.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting as well because obviously going to be running at Dover as well. So I think we might see a few people jump in there and get a little bit of experience before the Cup race. So it gives you a good way of getting your eye into the game and getting everything ready for that next race for the Cup Series as well. So could see some big names turning up for the Thunder Series on Wednesday, but definitely looking forward to tomorrow night, seeing those Indy cars at Monza. Going to be a very, very different race there. You've got a bit of an oval, got a bit of a circuit track. It's going to be fun indeed.
Absolutely, and a quick shout out to Scotty Rankin for jumping in as well while his car was being repaired, and then continuing on, giving us a bit of on-track coverage while he was back out and running in the event. So thanks to Scotty for jumping in. I think that just about wraps us up for this evening. So again, Jason Martin taking out the win here, Season 2, Round 1, and at Pocono with Josh Micklemore and Ed Foster rounding out our podium. And from all of us here at FGME Cast, thank you to those who tuned in for the broadcast this evening, and we'll see you back here tomorrow night at 7:45 for Oz Pro-Am. Carl, thanks very much.
Always welcome. Good night all.